Hey guys, it's Tuesday night. A little bit dysfunctional on the old stream this week. So all that I can do is apologise about that. I'll be doing a sound check in a moment when we go over to Discord. So Tuesday night, quick recap. So um, we've got into the thing, the university complex, scholarly complex place. We managed to work out how to get the axiom, the very last axiom. We now need to decide on what we're now going to do with the axioms. Do we spread them even further, or do we do something with them? So that's going to be a very difficult conversation that we're going to have. We haven't left the university yet, okay? But the white dragons and the white worms have actually left. So we're now in the phase of how do we go, when do we go. There's one bit of the dream prophecy that we've still yet to actually engaging. So hopefully we won't miss that, and then that's that particular chapter done. Once we get down the mountain, we can get through other places, etc., etc. So it will all be okay. Tonight, I am going to do a bit of a sponsor. So tonight is being sponsored by Gozzies.com. So Gozzies.com does maps, map generation. We use it on Tuesday night, so I think it's only fair that that we give them a bit of a shout out. For anyone who uses tabletop RPGs, and especially via Roll20, there's a plethora of mapping arrangements. But what I like about Gozzies is you basically put in the size that you want, the type that you want, and then it does it. And it's as easy as that. There's a lot more functionality that you can do as well. Also, the developer, he's a good guy. I know him quite well, and if you wanted other things, then a quick email in the suggestion box, and yeah. So we've been using the maps from Gozzies.com for a very long time, and half of our content since going electric, internety, web-based, I don't think I as a GM, John as a GM, or Anthony as a GM, I don't think we've got the time to actually do handwritten maps on Roll20. But of course, that's only my preference. So, so yeah, so tonight is sponsored by Gozzies.com. And after saying all of that, let's get on with the team. So I'll just interrupt them. And we're talking video and blockiness.
Discord isn't doing any processing.
Yeah.
So when I do the blurring in Discord, Discord is getting chewed up doing the processing, and it's doing it on the CPU, and it's doing it in the same thread as Discord is running in. So that's the first thing that's helping. And the second thing that's helping is there's just this big black space behind me. And of course, that means that the frames are much smaller.
Yeah.
So therefore, the quality comes through. So put all that together.
We're talking here about the NVIDIA Studio.
And then you get the
and it's got an ability for streamers whereby you can actually do background
really
blackouts.
Talking to these poor people.
Yeah, I'm just filling in whilst you guys were, because I came in halfway through the conversation and then I was like, shit, I better explain what we're talking about, because I know, because you and I, John, we spoke. So yeah, so I was just explaining that it's about the NVIDIA Studio add-on download thing, and it's quite good. It's better than quite good. It's very good. So if anyone's streaming out there and they want a cheap, easy, without having to iron your green screen every week, it's something that can be used if you don't want to broadcast your background.
As long as you got a GPU from Big Green, you're fine. Yeah.
Yes, you've got to have the NVIDIA GPU, and it's got to be half decent. So RTX 30 series, actually the 20 series will do it as well.
Actually works with the 20 series.
Yeah, and 20 series, and also I think some of the RTX 10 series, the later ones like the 1080 Ti's, would be able to handle it. But the 20 upwards is where you're aiming for, because otherwise, yeah, you might have a little bit of a problem.
You're looking at what 3-year-old GPUs, I think.
Yeah, but very good program. Very good program.
Yeah, I need an upgrade.
4-year-old GPUs.
Yeah, what you on mine?
I've got a 1080 and I've got a 980 next door, so definitely needed some upgrades. But
Okay,
other
so
things have been taking the money.
So you're on
priorities.
So you're on the 1080 at the moment. And your 980 is going to be donated to the local museum soon. Yeah.
Yeah, that machine can't even run. It can't, well, the CPU's too old. It can't run Windows 11 either. So it's hanging on that one. Just.
Yeah, but who needs Windows 11 when you got Windows 10?
I think it's about 8 years old, that machine.
I think we've all got one of those, haven't we, kicking around somewhere. A machine that won't run Windows 11, and it's really disappointing. You're like, you know.
Right.
Despite the fact that they could probably run Windows 11, but they're not allowed to because of marketing reasons. You know, I've got a machine that's got an i5, a fairly high-end i5 from some years ago, that won't run Windows 11. But the CPU is way more powerful than some of the low-end Celerons and stuff that are actually on, on the compatibility list. Yeah. And it's all the other stuff in it, like TPM module, TPM 2.0 module, and all that.
Yeah, I think mine doesn't support TPM. I think is the biggest issue with it.
It's simply because Microsoft have decreed that older machines need to go and new ones need to be brought in. They're forcing an upgrade cycle in the industry. So fair enough, I suppose. You know. You'll just have to run Windows 10 until that's end of life, which is 2 years or whatever it is.
Well, what they're talking about now is they want to move everyone onto Windows machines in the cloud. They don't want people having their own desktops anymore. They want everyone to run off cloud PCs so they can charge.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. For the the kind of casual consumers, it just doesn't. And for someone like me, obviously, it's completely useless. But or someone like most of us, actually, it's completely useless given the things that we run. But there we are. We'll see what happens. Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey.
Now we've had a bit of a moan about technology and other things. Let's catch up with where we were last week. So last week, you got your hand up, Rob.
Yeah, it's because on my OBS, it's the right. My camera feed is the right way round, but on the stream, it's my right hand comes up as my left hand, which is kind of weird.
So
my head in.
Your camera's not mirrored.
I'm going to change it right now though, because I can.
Enable your camera mirroring, mate. Yeah. For what you're looking at, you should have camera mirroring.
There you go.
There you go.
Piece of piss. Piece of piss when you know how to do it.
Okay. So, where were we? Last week, it looks like you'd successfully driven the white dragons out of the mountain, which is topped by the Institute, and you decided that you were going to head to Sharanav and have a talk to Lord Araxis, who was the gold dragon who had formerly been located at the Institute and been driven off some 250 years ago. So that was your plan, and you were just at the point of considering how you were going to leave. And that's where we left it last session. So, what are you doing?
Well, I think reverse of what we did before, where we worked out a combination of flying spells and flying forms and various things to get us off here.
Okay.
And
The
I
main
would say,
things,
we'll basically fly as far as we can away from the mountain, because obviously we know there's a whole load of Durgar futtering around at the base of this thing that we would like to avoid, and then head east.
Okay.
East.
So you're going to head due east. So you the first thing you do is you make a series of recce's and you wander around outside the building, and there's quite severe snowmelt going on. So there was this banked up snow, and that's now disappearing. And in the day since the dragons disappeared, it's quite notable how the temperature is improving, and how the ambient outdoors, how everything is melting. There's distinct trickles, and there's large kind of quantities of water dripping off the side of this mountain now that's actually been built up over time. You notice that the ice is starting to melt. The thick layers of ice. It's not just the snow that was on top of it. The thick layers of ice underneath are starting to melt. And you're a little bit concerned about stepping too far beyond the building, for fear that you walk into some breaking ice, and you can hear it starting to creak and crack. Quite notable. So you form up actually just kind of on the steps of the building, which are clear enough that you can all assemble on them. There's enough space for that to happen. What you do have is a slightly bizarre circumstance. You've got a huge amount of water vapor pouring out of what you take to be the hole in the mountain, the gash in the mountain, which leads to or did lead to the lairs of the white dragons, and that Yota told you about. There's huge amounts of water vapor still pouring out of that, and forming a column in the air and spreading up into the sky, and basically forming this thick cloud above you. And the whole mountain itself is surrounded by, mist. It's not foggy per se, but it's all misty all the way around. You just don't get good visibility in any particular direction. So you're flying east. You're using the same technique as before? A couple of giant owls?
I think so, yeah. Any objection?
That worked last time.
No, it works.
did.
Yeah, we can do
Worked
it.
surprisingly well.
All right. Okay. How long do they last?
Wild shape is, I think it's half my level. I think it's it'll be 5 hours for me.
Right.
Polymorph is an hour.
Yeah, polymorph's an hour.
So we would have to do what we did on the way up, which is stop after an hour, recast it, and carry on.
Yeah,
For
I've
those
got
that are on a
polymorph
polymorph
as well.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to stop on the way down. You're going to have to sprint downwards.
I was going to say,
You ain't going to be able to stop on the side.
all
Okay.
of a sudden change into a change out of an owl. Everyone else drops off the owl, polymorph, and then how do you catch everyone who's now falling through the air?
That's not the issue. The issue is that you would stop, and you would stop somewhere convenient. Remember, last time you flew for an hour. You basically you had enough height that you could fly directly for an hour.
Yeah.
But you're looking to avoid
Last
Durgar
time,
here.
we weren't anywhere close to an hour because we were flying over from a nearby peak. I don't think that
Yeah.
was an hour.
Yeah, we had hidden over there.
It took about an hour, actually.
Was it? Oh, okay.
It did. Yeah. It was hard, continuous flying at speed. Yeah, we worked out the distance, didn't we? And that's what you're going to have to do. But the thing is, of course, is now you've also got to get down.
Yeah. Well, you accelerate quite quickly as you go down. So
What you can't risk is you can't risk landing on the side of the mountain.
No.
Where this mountain was surrounded with ice, that ice is starting to move.
Okay,
Giant waterfall.
so
I
however
mean, if
we
go,
got
if we
up,
go at an angle, so effectively gliding, stroke flying at an angle away,
well,
What were you saying?
this
45
is what
degrees or so.
this is what my
Sorry,
thought
Rob.
process is, right? Okay, we started off on the ground, we then flew up, we then flew up some more, we then flew up some more. We found that ledge. We spent the night. Delira did her misty, snowy, cloudy thing. We then changed into birds and we flew an hour and we landed just in front of the doors and we walked in the doors and went, "Hi, honey, we're home." So why can't we just do completely the reverse? But instead of going to the ledge, we go to the first stop off point before the ledge and then we make our way down.
So basically, what you want to do is you want to go north, back to where you were last time.
Yeah. And
So
then
rather than going east,
and then we can go to Sharanav
You'll go north and
from
then
that
you'll head
point. You know,
yeah,
it's
fine.
it's either that or we use portal type technology to, because but so who's riding
absolutely
me?
fine. I don't have a problem with you flying back to where you were last time. You know it's going to take you about an hour, and that will keep you, and that will be well out of the radius of the mountains cold.
Let's do it.
Should we do
But
that
it's a direct
instead?
flight. The rails all right with that? Obviously, then you
Yes.
can cut east from there, and you can just do that in steps, and it doesn't matter.
If we do that, then that might be a
with
little
that.
bit easier. I mean,
Then at least
obviously,
as well, you're off the plane, so you're not going to be anywhere near the Durgar.
yeah,
Yes.
we are also going to consume a lot of spells. So so once we get to Sharanav, an overnight layover will be needed before we
Do you
move
want me
on.
to cast? Do you want me to cast polymorph before I wild shape, and then you can cast
Right.
polymorph afterwards?
I think it's important to mention that it took you 3 days to get through the Inabiros, through the forest.
It's true.
3 whole days.
Yep.
You think you're going to fly over the top of it in a few hours, you're not.
Yeah.
It's going to take you
No.
some time. Yeah?
No.
So what you're doing at the moment is you're in this area that's in the centre of the forest, where you've got the plain, and you've got the mountains. Well, you've got plains at the edges and the mountains in the middle. Yeah? And what you've got to do is you've got to clear the mountains. The total journey time from the edge of the forest was 6 days. Not including the days that you sat around.
I've got 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of polymorph, but that takes up all of my level 4 and 5 spells. Okay, that's basically what I'm getting at. We can move at a tremendous speed. Now we will need 3 birds because there is 5 of us, so that we're going at the same speed.
3 birds?
No.
Well, how did we do it last
Jarvis can
time?
just fly.
I
Jarvis
can,
flies.
but only fly for an hour a day, so
He's limited.
Yeah. So
So what you did last time was you had 2 birds, 1 wild shape and 1 polymorph. And you put Illyra and Mugsy on one.
Yep.
Jarvis on the other because he weighs quite a bit more.
okay,
And you
That's
figured that would offset the 2.
then
We worked
that's
out
fine.
We worked out the ratings, and that was fine.
So between
Well, we
Delira's polymorph and my polymorph, we might actually have around about 10 hours worth of polymorph. I don't know how
But we
many
didn't-
slots. Sorry, Pete.
we didn't fly through the Inabiros, did we?
No.
We walked.
We walked. But what we can do is we can always go onto land mounts instead, like cheetahs or something. Real nice, fast, agile land mounts to basically skirt a lot of the 3 mile an hour walking to, 30, 35 mile an hour a casual jog.
Definitely today, I don't think there's any question that using your bird forms as a team, you can fly all the way to the inner edge of the forest. So I don't think that that's going to slow you down at all. And then you'll need to rest overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Then we can start worrying about whether or not you guys turn into draft horses or not.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. But also you've got to remember that the way that you got through the forest last time was that whatever this
Sneaky.
strange affinity with the forest that Delira has, she was
Yeah.
able to talk you through.
And in that case, maybe we just walk through.
Hmm.
I know
Yeah.
I know we'd like to go fast, but
whatever big beasts in there are still going to be roaming about.
Exactly. So if we can avoid agitating the forest.
Well, Ma once told us, a street urchins, a story about some stupid rabbit and a tortoise, and the tortoise actually won. So maybe slow and steady is actually the key.
I think so. However, the tortoise did have to at least start the race. So with that said, let's do this thing.
So saying goodbye to Yota and leaving her as much as food as you can spare, which should be enough for a good sort of 4 to 6 weeks. You transform and take flight. And yes, you fly north first to the ledge where you were previously, just really so that you know that you are well clear of everything. And then you turn yourselves east, and again, using your beast forms, you go fast. And by the late afternoon, with your spells running low, you find yourselves back on the edge of the forest.
Brilliant.
I should say forest, it's almost jungle. You're in that strange intermediate zone, which is temperate and warm, but it's not quite the brutal heat of the inside of the Inaveros, where the trees grow to a mile tall. As an eighth of a mile at the base.
Oh,
Large trees.
sounds good.
Mm.
So do we enter the forest and find a place to hole up for the night, or do we stay out here? Are there any obvious places that we should have landed next to, John? Defensible?
You've landed in an area of where it's possible just to find, a thicket of bushes or something to hide within. There's plenty of ground cover. The ground undulates enough that you can find a spot that is defensible and reasonably safe.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. First watch. Nobody.
Well,
Nobody.
that's normal. That's the normal watch order.
Yeah,
Working
normal
from
watch
normal
order.
unless you want to talk otherwise.
Any fires, or are we just gonna?
We should be okay fire-wise as long as we're not in the forest or using those trees.
Cold camp.
Once we're in the Inabaros, I think fire would be bad.
Probably use some fresh water.
Hmm.
There's a stream or anything nearby that we saw flying in?
Yep.
I've got the water sorted, so don't worry. I can create water and food and shit.
All right. You got enough spells? That's good.
Yeah, it's a 3rd level spell, so I've got 3 of those.
That'll save me a hike over there.
I've just noticed this AI is getting really confused, and it keeps thinking, "Look, I'm looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up. Look, it's like I'm swiveling my eyes all the time." I'm not.
Just trying to sort it out. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
What do you think,
Alrighty.
Delara? What do you think, Delara? What's the weather going to be? Should we put up tents, or should we just go ahead and camp under the stars?
I've always been partial to sleeping under the stars, but
I didn't think you
That's
guys
me.
had any tents. I thought you just
Yeah.
had
Ah,
backpacks and
Okay.
bedrolls.
well,
No,
strike
we
that.
stole some. I'm sure we stole some
Strike
from
that.
somewhere.
And when?
I don't know.
Strike
Mugsy
that statement.
produces many, many different things from many, many different places.
No. So yes, we will sleep under the stars. Okay, I put the bedroll up.
I've just got a few practical questions.
Yes.
Yeah, and this one is mainly for Reinhorn. Reinhorn, where's your mace?
My mace. I think at this moment in time, it would be in the bag of holding.
Right. So
But I
in the
think
event
now
there's a
that you've
combat
asked
and you
that, I
run
think
in,
I might actually have to take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I
Yeah.
would have left it in the bag of holding whilst I was flying. Mind you, I did have it, but then we stayed. Didn't want to alert the. Mind you, dragons aren't fiends, are they? So it would have been fine. No, I think I would have actually had it on my person, not in the bag of holding, because there wasn't any fiends to make it go like it normally does. So no, it would be actually on my person somewhere.
right. The reason I'm asking the question is because, simply put, if you want to carry it, if you want to use it, you have to be carrying it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're carrying it unless you tell me otherwise.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Okay. It's going to get you in trouble, won't it?
Only if there's fiends about, But if there's fiends about, we want to know about it so we can kill them before they get to us.
Fair enough. However,
Yeah, that AI
walking
is
through the-
is doing my head in, John. your eyes are going down, back up again. It's like you're just constantly looking at me, mocking me.
it's all good.
That's
No,
great.
That's okay. If I do that, as soon as I do that, it goes, you're looking down, you're looking up, you're looking down, you're looking up, you're looking down, you're looking up.
Nice.
Hmm.
Well,
That's not me moving.
so my one thing, Reinhardt, is if we're slipping through the woods with giant creatures that kill everybody, it might be okay to slip past some fiends.
Okay.
Well, not knowing
Just a
when.
thought.
It's night time.
Yeah, I mean, not knowing
Okay.
when something like that would happen.
Mugsy, your watch passes without incident, and so does Garbus's, and so does Delira's.
Nice. I'm out.
No, Mugsy.
Okay.
Sweet dreams. Mwah.
So, Illyra,
Yes.
okay. So you've been on watch for about an hour, and Delira has become a snoozing huddle in one, sort of on the edge of the camp, and everyone else you
Okay.
can hear is well asleep. And you've been doing your usual sweeps, looking across the area around the camp and making sure that nothing's sneaking up on you. Your eyesight's good, so that's not unexpected. And every so often you just sort of look skyward, because where you are is incredibly dark. And as a result of that, the vault of the heavens on a clear night just shows you this staggering beauty of the stars twinkling in the sky. And as is usual on a night like this, you've seen the odd shooting star comes across. They come across the sky in the usual fashion. So they come typically from east to west, but some of them have more northerly inclinations, sometimes southerly inclinations as well. And as you're looking at the sky, a particularly bright shooting star comes across, but the strange thing about this is it comes in the other direction. And it comes across you, above you, and then it disappears off to the east. It comes from the west, directly from the west, disappears over your head and down behind you. And you turn and actually look back, and you swear you see it go down behind the trees, kind of
Like
into
land.
the horizon. Sorry?
I see it land, do I?
No, not land. You see it
Okay.
disappear behind. You see the
That's
bright flash of light. I mean, it's over in a moment. You know, it's very brief, but you see it in the sky, and then you see it come across your head, and you turn and you look, and you swear you see it fall down or kind of disappear off behind the trees.
Oh man, I was expecting a Life of Brian in between scenes alien abduction event.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, they're sat there going, ah! All the way through. Yeah. And the rest of your watch passes uneventfully.
Okay.
Was she
Okay.
last watch?
And then Reinhorn, you take last watch, and it passes without event.
Does
And in the
Alira
morning,
tell
you
me
break down.
about
You are ready to
the?
move.
Does Alira tell us about the, or tell me about the shooting star that came in from an opposite direction?
I didn't hear her say anything.
Yeah, I tell them all about it. There was an amazing sky last night, wasn't it? So the shooting stars were stunning. Really large one went past west to east. Went down behind the trees there. So bright. Almost lit up the sky.
Hmm. Have you seen any go the other way before?
Okay.
I mean, overnight, during the night when it's dark, you will all have seen maybe one or two. It's not uncommon to see the occasional shooting star.
But which direction were they going? East to west or west to east? North to
They
south?
normally go east to west. Yeah.
East to west. And this one went differently.
Hmm.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's
it does happen.
maybe
but
it's
it's not
the
very
gold
common.
dragon getting to Sharanath before we get there. He's flying at the speed of light. He's like Flash.
All right, let's press on.
Yeah.
Maybe his butt's on fire.
Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. Maybe he's telling
So
big
break camp.
porkies. Yes.
Load everything back in our backpacks. Delira, do you have the stuff you need? Actually, I guess the main question is, did we long rest?
You
I
did
assume
have a
so.
long rest, yes.
All right. So, not that I personally need it, but our friends with all the spells that they just used, so I'm sure will be happy.
Yep.
I'm still going to take a long rest on the sheet just in case there's anything I
It's
forgot.
not going to make much of a difference, I don't think, from the perspective of most
Yeah.
people on it. I don't think, anyway.
Yep. So, I guess we
There we
start.
go.
Oops.
Hello?
Delira.
Hello? Elira?
It's actually Delira.
Oh,
Dropped off.
no, she's
Lyra.
still here.
Yeah, I refreshed my screen and it seems to have kicked me out of the game for some
Oh,
reason.
there we go.
Yep.
She
There
was
she
pressed.
is.
Okay, there we go.
Lyra.
You're back. Good.
Yeah.
I just noticed that it flashed and somebody had disappeared, and I was like, hello? Because we can't see you, Christine, we think you've probably got up in a huff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bloody
What's that
shit,
alien
so-
abduction you were talking about?
There you go. You see, Mugsy called it. I'm just,
Very good.
really?
So,
Hey,
into the woods?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's never been said with good intent, has it?
I mean, calling it the woods is a slightly,
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it in that way.
I just want to
Forest.
make sure that we have taken
great
all the
forest.
right turns thus far, because you never want to go into a forest after
mean-
taking a wrong turn.
Got
it
it.
really is quite, it's not like any other place you've ever been.
I'll touch the tree again and to see if I can see if it will grant us passage.
Mhm.
Or the forest, or the
Yes, the
most
forest
peaceful grant us
seems
passage.
happy, and you happy to let you through. Well, I mean, it would be hard to express it as happiness, contentedness. The trees are content for you to travel through as a group, and
Keep an eye out
providing
for any.
you cause no damage and disturb nothing within the forest in the same way as before.
And avoid any
and
blank spots.
you-
Let's put it like
In your mind's eye, you spy out that blank spot from before.
that.
You let your awareness be filled with the movement of things within the forest, and you work on that basis that you are going to the route that you are going to take, and this time you travel, and it still takes you slightly more than 3 days to travel through. In fact, it is late afternoon on the 4th day of your travels, having started, first thing in the morning. It takes you three and a half days to travel through, but you emerge onto the plain some distance from the elves' trading post, but with that in the distance, and turn and start cutting north. Are you going to hang on a second.
Reach the tree and try and express gratitude in some form before we leave.
Yeah, and may I throw in a piece of color, John, as well?
Yeah.
I think that in this forest, that Mugsy is feeling all the great nature, natural, whatever, and decides to go full pig the entire trip.
Okay.
Which I don't know I don't think he's ever been full pig that long at one time, so there may be some consequences.
Well, that's incredibly useful because at one point the moon is full and just filters down through the trees, and rather than you having to be stressed and hide from it, you bathe in its beautiful light and are incredibly contented, snuffling around in the trees, finding finding things to eat, fresh vegetables.
Absolutely.
And so forth.
I don't know
I'll
if this
do
is
that.
but you could liven up our rations if you could find some truffles.
Well, what I'll do is I'll leave some chocolate jelly beans for Reinhorn.
So
Yeah, they're going in the salad.
So are you going to Solvane, which is where the elves' trading post is? It's the little village where the elves' trading post is, or are you cutting to the road?
I would say go straight to the road to Sharanav.
Right. Okay. So you're going northeast.
Or to be honest, I mean, we spent 3 days in the forest, so it might be nice to have a day in in a nice bed before we head off to Sharanav.
Just the night time, yeah, that might be a good idea.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Listen in conversations at a bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So you head to the lodging house in Solvane, the Sol lodging house, and you check in, and it is, it's pretty much the end of the day when you arrive, and the place is filling up with various travellers and so forth.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll ask for a couple of rooms.
A couple of rooms for the night, and
That's not a problem. There is plenty of space still.
food, drink.
And you book in, you eat, and that's fine.
Nice.
We don't see Zastari in there, do we?
Sorry?
We don't see Zastari and Co in there.
Yeah. Starry
So
going
did
on
a
a
pilgrimage into the woods.
like she was doing a proper pilgrimage.
We could definitely talk to some people and see what's going on in the greater world since we've been out running around for a while. See if there's any news, anything crazy going on.
Mm.
couple of weeks since we were last
Find the
here.
beer and some rumours, please, Inkeep. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean you do. You engage in conversation throughout the evening. You engage. There is a travelling bard who's popped up just to really sort of work the room for a few days. Who tells you that things have got particularly bad in the Dwarf Kingdom, and that all non-dwarves have been ejected, and that as a result of this, there's been a huge exodus around the coast that's ended up at Kesar. There's been a huge exodus, so that the whole of, including the whole of Kajand, has been cleared out, and there's been a mass exodus of people, some in ships, but mostly on foot. And the Kesar is trying to move them on, and that they're a number of those people have started moving further in towards Jaegus and so forth. So there is this mass exodus of people out of the Dwarf Kingdoms. Anybody who was still underground, who is not dwarf, is considered suspicious, and a few of them have been a few non-dwarves have been killed.
Oh wow!
Because of the level of suspicion. But the Dwarf Kingdom has decided that they will empty Kujand of anyone who's not a dwarf, which is making things very difficult, especially with some of the trading and other things that have gone on. But it's also creating suspicion amongst dwarves who live beyond Kujand, and there's quite a lot of tension going on. You hear this from the bard.
Wow.
You're talking to a couple of other travellers as well, and they've said that a number of caravans, they're having to beef up the caravan guards because caravan main routes through Zarkamar are being attacked by these strange groups of almost they seem to be kind of humans mainly, but they're incredibly savage and incredibly feral. They don't seem to be in their right mind when they're repulsed. They just seem to keep fighting without anyone, without there being any logic to the way in which they're fighting. They attack almost just to destroy. And the problem is that they're occasionally coming upon these caravans where things have been set alight, nothing's been taken, and everyone has just been horribly murdered. And it's entirely unclear as to why this is happening, which seems to have suddenly started occurring in the last week or so.
Have villages on the edge of civilization been in the same boat, or is it just caravans?
No, it just seems to be caravans on the road. Some of the quieter places. It seems to be in spots where the attackers can escape back into cover, like hills and so forth. So, for example, they said they hadn't had a problem coming across the plain here, between here and Sharanav, because obviously you get good visibility for miles in every direction. But certainly south between Sharanav and Jaegus, and from Jaegus up to Bishbulak, and out to Kesar and Sultanabad, and they're particularly concerned because obviously there's starting to be these refugees moving as well. So putting this all together is creating a great sense of concern.
So humans that are berserked for whatever reason are just burning and destroying and murdering, but they're not taking anything?
No. We came upon a caravan that had been like that. Small caravan, couple of wagons, 9 people. They'd all been murdered and hacked to pieces. Terrible. It was awful. It was really dreadful. I mean, we gave them a proper burial. We buried them. But the carts were on fire. One of them was on fire. It looks like they tried to burn the other one, but it hadn't taken. But nothing was gone. Or it didn't seem to be anyway. It made no sense.
Doesn't sound like humans. Humans will steal you blind. I say as I'm looking around the room.
Yeah, and you say that very loudly, and everything goes quiet in here. And the roughly 60 odd humans who are all caravan guards and
I don't think I'd say it that loud.
merchants and so forth all stare at you.
I don't think I'd say it quite
Well, I
that
agree
loud.
with.
But yeah, I could do it.
I say equally as loud. Yeah, I agree. Most humans would do that. You know, elves are a little bit
Well,
more.
so would-
But
Yeah, the the bard is you can see the look on the bard's face. He's gone up to sit at the thing. He's just been tinkling away on his lute, and you can see the absolute horror in his face. Yeah, because he's reading the pair of you, and he's kind of going, "Yeah, right. Look, you know, I know that you're trying to be funny here and whatever."
Whoops.
Yeah, but he does. It's pretty obvious to him that the other folks here have not taken it in the spirit it's meant.
Mm.
And then he yells at Mugsy's more orders, folks. Always there with a joke. Yeah. Okay. So let's sing that song, shall we? And he starts off, and everyone sort of breaks and turns to look at him and stops looking at Mugsy and Reinhorn.
So I
Mugsy?
deliberately don't make eye contact with
really,
Jarvis. I look around the room.
Bless you. Let's get these fine people drunk. What's their cheapest ale, do you think?
Yeah, we could put
probably
some copper behind the bar.
You think probably that you don't need people to get drunk tonight.
Ah,
No, I think it would be funny. Mugsy, how are you going to get out of this one? I'm fine. I can heal myself. You're fucked.
mm. Very good. So we have rooms, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
You sleeping with me, big boy?
Is everybody? Probably so.
Same as
Everybody have
before,
single?
they're out back in separate cabins.
Oh, separate cabins.
Ooh. Okay.
Do you remember previously the main building
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
had got a common room, and then
Yeah.
out the back was a kitchen, and the common room, the bar, and the tap room, and the tap house, basically like the cellar.
Yep.
And then beyond that was the kitchen, and then you walked across, and there was a whole bunch of areas that had got basically cabins that had got a series of rooms in them.
Is there a I can't remember. Is there a temple of Torm in here? Or
No,
priest?
there is a single roomed building.
Yeah.
Well, I say single room, it's one big room, which isn't very big at all, that would take, hold probably 20 worshippers, that is dedicated to the whole pantheon.
Right.
And there is a cleric who looks after that, who has a small room off to one side. So you can certainly go and pray there. That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I was just going to go over and pray. See if you can get some guidance about these attacks, because they're concerning.
Mugsy's marauders, the bravest adventurers in the land. Mugsy's marauders, when there is danger, they'll be close at hand. He's doing his best to distract them.
Yeah.
I head out. I'm gonna follow Garvis. I'm feeling devout.
I want to know who this Mugsy and his marauders are. They sound like a good group.
So as Garvis does his prayers. Yeah.
Probably
Go
not
ahead.
much. I think.
As Garvis does his prayers, I'll just sort of poke around, see what's going on in the place. Curious.
Which
I'll probably
place?
get bored. I'm following him to the
temple.
Go pray. Absolutely.
The little temple. Okay.
Yep.
So fundamentally, you go in the front door, and it is a big rectangular room, with a series of small tables around the outside, on which there is a small statuette that's basically the holy symbol of each of the gods, and they are spread around the room. So from where you come in through the door, you've basically got the sides to the left and right, and then you've got the, down the long length of the room, and then it comes back on itself. And there's also a small altar, which has got candles, spaces for offerings, and so forth. A little offering space. And then there's a door at the back on the right hand side, and you think that leads through to the quarters where the cleric lives.
So the offerings are left on one table, not on each individual table.
That's right. Yes, there is an offering space on the altar, which is dedicated to all of the pantheon.
All of them.
So at the moment on the altar there are a series of offerings. Some of those, there's some money, there's some food, there's some dried flowers that have been left. There's a couple of other trinkets and small items, all left in this large wooden bowl that's in an offerings space on the altar. It's positioned perfectly so that a halfling can stand at it at chest height, and for everyone else they can kneel and stand before it. A halfling would typically stand, everyone else would kneel before that spot on the altar and give a prayer and then give their offering.
I watch Garvis see what he does because I really don't know, having been raised sort of at the edge of stuff.
Well, Garvis, so presumably goes over to the thing for Torm, and he kneels for a moment in front, bows his head, and gives some prayer, which is sub-vocalized, so you don't hear exactly what he's saying. You can hear him kind of talking.
Which is when Mugsy leans in and says, "What are you saying? What are you saying? I can't hear." Oh, is it private? I can't hear.
Go away.
Oh, okay. So I start wandering around. I will put a gold piece in the bowl. I'm proud of myself. And then I stand there staring at it because now I'm really having buyer's remorse, trying to decide if I should pick it back up if anyone's watching. And that's where Garvis will find me when he gets finished.
I put a hand on your shoulder and say,
Dang it.
It's very generous of you,
Pick up the gold.
Mugsy. And I'll
Yeah, I mean, there's about 20 gold pieces in total in there. I mean, it's not all gold pieces. There's some gold, there's some silver, there's some copper.
Yeah.
But there's probably about all up. If you were to completely rob the plate, there'd probably be about 30 gold pieces worth of stuff. But
Worth
I'm not one to rob that. I'm just having serious buyer's remorse of having put one of my own gold into the bowl, and I'm just like, crap. And now I can't get it out.
Whole gold, would a silver have been enough? I mean,
Mugsy, it is.
That's exactly what he's thinking. He's like, crap.
Mugsy, it is Torm. Torm, it is I, Torm. I am watching you, Mug. And then you turn around and you realise it's Garvis. Yeah.
Oh, dang it, Garvis. Nice little montage there, John. I enjoyed that.
yeah.
Cool.
Unfortunately,
You've been in the temple for probably about 20 minutes between you. And the door at the back opens. And this young and very fresh-faced, I mean, you guys are young, all of you, but he looks like he's not had a huge amount of experience. And he's obviously a cleric. He's wearing a symbol of Tyr, but he also has a sash, and on his sash are all of the holy symbols of the main holy symbols of the pantheon. So all the main pantheon symbols are stitched into this sash that he's wearing, and he's got this mop of sandy coloured hair, and he comes out and he smiles, this kind of a kind of I'm down with the gods kind of smile on his face, and he comes over and he says, "Bless you." And he looks down at Mugsy particularly. He says, "Bless you, boy. That's very generous."
boy,
Hypothetically. I shake that off because I have a question. So hypothetically, if someone put something in the bowl that they didn't really intend to, could they just take it back? Just hypothetically.
His eyes look up to the sky.
Oh, that's a sign right there.
The intent would be something that the gods would see. They would know what was in the person's heart.
Oh, good. I reach in and grab my gold piece and head out the door. I head back to the bar.
Okay, so as you turn, without realizing you're doing it, you whack into one of the seats. There's a series. They're not pews. They're individual chairs. You whack into one of the wooden chairs and smash. I mean, you smash your shin into it, and you literally go and you actually manage to drop the gold piece on the floor, and it clatters and it rolls back towards the altar, and then it goes bunk right by the altar, and the cleric just smiles at you. He just grins as you sit there on the floor, like rubbing your shin, because that really hurt. That smarted.
He used mage hand on you.
Garvis,
Now I will
just
say that Mugsy can learn, sort of.
Yeah.
So I just
bends over and picks up the coin, holds it up in front of his face, smiles at Mugsy, and drops it in the collection plate.
He's
very
learning.
good.
Learning.
Muttering quietly to himself, Mugsy follows Garvis out.
Hopping as well.
Yes. Ow! Ow! Ow!
Favouring his right shin, Mugsy walks out the door.
Yeah.
Which of your gods are mean? Which of your gods are mean?
Oh, they're not mean, but as that young priest said, they truly know what is in your heart, Mugsy.
Ah. Very good. Very good.
The priest turns to you, Garvis. You're there as well, Dora, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Priest turns to you, Garvis, and he nods a deep nod. And he says, "Brother." And then he looks at you, Delara, and he says, "Ah, sister of the wild, welcome.
Hello.
You're always welcome in this space.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Will you sit for a moment? Perhaps a drink?"
He's macking on her.
I'm assuming that's to both of us, yes?
Yes, to both of you.
Yeah.
And he indicates
Yes,
the
please.
seats.
We're just arrived. We heard some
A moment. And he nips out the back and he comes back and he's got a little bottle. And he's got 3 little cups.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts them down on the altar and he goes and takes the cork out of the bottle and pours 3 shots and puts the cork back in and puts it to one side. And then he brings you each a cup over.
Is Mugsy still there or did I walk out? I can't remember.
You've gone.
Okay, darn. Very good.
Yeah. Free booze. Yeah. It's some kind of brandy. It's nice. It's warming. It's very pleasant. Very inviting. It's a spiced brandy.
Okay. Yes. Can you tell us? We've heard some troubling stories about attacks on caravans. Do you have any news on that?
News. What do I know? Only what I've heard. I've had the great good fortune that problem does not seem to be coming here. It seems to have been going on for quite some time, although I get the distinct impression that whatever is causing it is moving closer to us here. Seem to come out of cover in the mountains and attack caravans unexpectedly.
It's troubling.
The mountains, what, east of Sharanav? Or
Well,
the mountain?
from what I understand, all of them. Where there are low foothills or spaces aside the mountains, and where there are roads nearby, passing through regions where there is cover, seem to be springing out and causing trouble.
Have there been rumours of dark influence?
I would think that this is something to do with evil. I believe this started around Khazar. I don't. That's where I first heard stories from. It was some time ago. I think it has slowly moved this way, north and west.
We have encountered pockets of problems on our travels. Most disturbing.
Just
What sort of things have you
back.
discovered? Sorry, Pete. Say again.
Sorry, no, I was just thinking back. Wasn't it was on our way from Khazar to the south where we went and we had that encounter in the mine with that sort of witch? Was it like a witch necromancer type? I can't remember exactly. But she got away, didn't she?
She did, yes.
Yeah, she did.
I'm wondering if it's
She
anything.
seemed to have been brought through by accident, and she used her cunning and her abilities to hide from you, hide her true nature from you,
Yes.
and then to escape, but you were left with a demon and having to deal with a particularly dangerous demon.
Yeah. I wonder if it's anything to do with her.
Potentially. Yeah, it could be. Kind of have to go somewhere, wouldn't she?
You know, it also reminds. Oh, I'm not there.
No, we did see some demonic influence or in Tagul as well, and a couple of other places.
Yes.
Managed to help where we could. Testing the minds of those in the area.
All
By the way,
right,
the notes for this section of the thing are called "Now What?" question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suppose I know as much as you do, really. Beyond what I've said.
All right,
I don't
maybe
know.
talk for a little, just to and see if there's anything else he knows, and then head back to the
You
inn.
get the distinct impression that he probably gets asked to help out with some minor injuries every now and again of people. He probably doesn't get anybody very much to talk to, and so he talks to you quite a lot. Kind of, has a pretty lengthy conversation with you on various topics, and you talk about all sorts of stuff. But he looks a bit sad when you say that you've got to leave. He's like, "Well, come back any time." He looks,
Your name?
he looks slightly disappointed.
Young priest.
Okay, I'm gonna have to turn that eyeball thing off. It's driving me mad.
Martin, you're gonna have to repeat that. You're gonna have to repeat that question as well, Martin.
Eyeballs aren't moving.
Sorry, Rob.
You're gonna have to repeat that question because John didn't hear you.
All right.
Okay.
What's your name, young cleric?
My name is Stephen.
Pleasure to meet you. Hope
And
hope
you.
goodwill and say good fortune to you, and hopefully the spread of this leaves you in peace. But if we do find influence of evil, we will do our best to contain and push it back.
Well, go in peace.
Thank you. You too.
And he is right back.
He is. And when Mugsy comes back to the inn, the common room,
Here we
he'll
go.
see myself and Elira chatting to the guards, the locals, blah blah blah. You know, a few bless yous, and may your goddess of give you wealth and happiness on most of the guards. Just make them feel better.
Cool.
Okay. So,
Lou,
any more
however-
conversations or anything you want to do?
So I was just going to say, Elira, on the other hand, is going to cast Fireball and just incinerate everyone because they didn't find Mugsy funny at all.
Yeah, that'll teach him. Okay, no, I'm good to crash. I do think that being separated is probably not a great plan.
Mm.
Should probably team up. I don't know how we set up the rooms, but
Especially now we've got all 5 of them.
Well, when
yeah,
Delira and Garvis come back, especially when Mugsy's there and what have you, I'm going to say to everyone over the last, whilst we're having the last drink of the evening, you know, some of the stories that that these guys are telling us whilst you were off doing, where did you go? Anyway, not important. So it kind of reminds me of that thing that happened in Tagul, where they were basically mindless idiots fighting against each other, and that was a demon, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Do you think that? Because I find it very interesting that it's happened within the last week, and we've basically got the last. We got the last
say it.
present. We got the last present for Ma, literally a week ago.
Just going to say
I'm
this.
surprised.
The guy said it was the last. Who you first spoke to said it was the last few weeks.
Oh, last
Right.
few weeks.
Last few weeks. But when you questioned Stephen, the cleric, you found that he said it's been going on for a number of months.
Yes.
And it started in Kesar and seems to have spread.
Yeah.
So it's been going on for a while. You just hadn't heard about it before.
Right.
It started in Kesar.
Okay. But it does sound a little bit like that awful business down
Yep.
at Tagul, doesn't it?
It does sound a lot like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we dispatch the demon, or was it just my sister that we dispatched? I think it was just my sister, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It turned out that she had crossed over into, she'd basically completely transformed into a demon.
Yeah, but there was another woman with her though when we first went
There
into
was.
that thing,
She transformed into a night hag.
and she disappeared.
There was. Is this where Mugsy did his most amazing magical thing ever, where he cast Charm Person and said, "Go home"?
No,
that
that
was
was the
elsewhere?
fiend at the beginning, wasn't it? The observatory.
That was the fiend at the beginning. Yeah.
That was in the observatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still proud of that. He's still really proud of
Mhm.
that. That's why he brings it up right now.
Okay. So
In
when
the
we're
middle of the conversation.
so whilst we're in the when we get into our own roomage area, and we think that nobody's going to be able to over here. I'm just going to make an observation that now we've got the white people, we've now got the demon, we've now got berserking, we got demon activity. We've got to
You've
get.
got white people. That sounds really dodgy, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah, well, we got the. I can't remember whether they're human or whether they're elves or.
They're elves. They're pale-skinned elves.
Right, so we got the white elves. We got the demon activity. That night hag, she could be causing everything down there. We've got Mars presence that we've got to wrap up. Because Christ, I would get a spanking if anything happened with that. I'm just wondering how much more the gods will put upon us. Is it down to us to sort it all out, or? And if it is, where do we start? Garvis.
Garvis, it's your fault. You carry on.
Yeah.
Ujan's got his problems. Kazar's now got those problems. Where do we go? What's more important? Plus, we've also got to.
I think we continue on the way to
I think Sharonov.
Shalimar. Sharonov.
Sharonov.
But after that,
well, we'll see what we find out from Lord Araxis, I'd say.
that was his
Plus,
name.
Sharonov's a big city. There'll be a full temple of Torm there, and I can ask around. They'll probably have a better idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
Is it worth trying to contact Antia Reinhorn, do you think? If she's living in the hills and there's problems in the hills, do you think it's worth seeing if she's seen any activity?
Who?
Our spellcasting friend near the observatory.
The one you mightily offended last time, if you remember.
I can give it a go. Actually, no, I will. So I'll send a message because I've got a blank spell sheet, and it's just before I go to bed anyway. So I'll send her a message. So I'll send Shantia. It was Shantia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You reach out with your mind.
I reach out with my mind, and I just go, Shantia. I know last time I was drunk and more than likely made no sense. Are you safe? Are you okay? Bad things happening. Mountain. That's my 20 words.
Okay. You get a response. All safe here. But if you want my help, come to me. Your wizard would be most helpful. In actual fact, she says Illyra the wizard would be most helpful.
Yeah.
Because she names her. Otherwise, it sounds a bit like an AI that's trying to trick you into going there to be murdered. It doesn't sound like that at all.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Shantia is out at this moment, but I have been instructed to inform you that you must come and bring your wizard, otherwise death and despair will be bestowed
Bring your
upon
tasty
you.
wizard. I mean, your really, really pleasant wizard.
Okay.
Yum, yum, I am very hungry, and I'm definitely not a creature from the nth dimension.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Can you pick up some salt and pepper on the way?
Yeah. Make sure she's nice and fat. I mean, she's
Well
has an
proportioned
opportunity to not be too hungry when she arrives.
and still can fit in the cauldron. Okay, I'll send her a message back straight away. Yeah, okay, will do. And we've got shit. Yeah, okay, will do. Got last errand, then we shall depart to come see you. Hugs, kisses, kiss, kiss. Been drinking. That's my 20
Nothing new
words.
there then. See you when you get here.
Okay, and then I'll tell everyone what's been said. And Reinhorn's got a
We're going that
massive,
way.
Reinhorn's got a
committed to
massive
it.
smile on his face. Shanty is not pissed at him. Shanty's not pissed at him.
We don't know what she wants it there for.
Yeah, wait until we
Come
turn
right
up. Then she's going to give me a good walloping, I tell you.
If I should get you to just briefly turn your attention to the OneNote.
The OneNote.
Under background information, there is in fact selected NPCs.
Yes.
And all you need to do is look at the bit at the top which says status, alive, friendly, to know that she was still fairly friendly.
There we go. Yeah.
Because
Unlike Mark Arsenal, who stays alive, unclear after
Governor.
Mugsy and
Yes, alive,
Michael
neutral,
Stark.
except Mugsy. It's true.
Yeah, well,
Governor Rostam status alive, neutral brackets except for Mugsy. Are we starting to see a pattern here?
brackets Mugsy. That's
You
gonna be
go places, meet people, form friendly relationships, only to have them ruined when certain people get drunk.
Aw.
He doesn't need to be drunk.
No.
Oh no.
No, we can do that completely sober. Did you not see the common room turn in an instant?
That was dangerous.
Hmm.
Can't believe you let me say that, Reinhardt.
I can't believe you actually did it. Oh, that reminds me, I owe you a gold piece for that bet. There you go. And I give you a gold piece.
If the funny thing is, us all joking aside, the number of times I clicked back and forth on my inventory, taking the gold piece on, taking it off during that whole last scene, and now I get to go into my inventory. I'm gonna put that dang gold piece right back on there. Thank you. And Muggsy goes, "The gods do provide."
Of course they do. Who told you they don't?
He rubs his shin. There's a hint.
Oh,
It might not
are you
be
damaged,
as nice as I
Mugsy?
thought. No, perfectly fine.
Okay.
Just my ego, usually.
Just you.
It's somebody who was playing laser tag in the dark and who ran into a stone bench with his shin. I know how bloody painful.
Yeah.
That is amazingly painful.
At full tilt.
Oh,
Bonk.
And you're sure you're bleeding or something's broken, and you look down and it's like, huh?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I was bleeding.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I was bleeding.
ow.
Yeah. When
Ow.
when we finally won, because we won, it was girls versus boys. Of course we did.
Mm-hmm.
Most people were very drunk. When I finally got to sit down and I actually pulled my trousers up and looked, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big hole."
yeah.
It took me weeks to heal.
Now, the main question I've got is, why were you running around with your trousers down? Anyway,
Why wouldn't he? It's dark. Nobody could see anything.
because
Believe me,
you see,
even with your trousers up,
you got to
trousers
the
ain't
end.
no defense.
Yeah, you got to the end, and you finally got to pull your trousers up and check your leg.
Yes,
I had a
pull
bad-
the trouser
So
leg up.
my assumption is you're running around the
Oh,
dark
okay.
in
Yeah,
trousers.
that's reasonable. Yeah.
I had a wooden bench slap pull my trouser leg off.
Well, all the way through the entire game of laser tag, Yakety Sax was playing in the background while we were all running around. You see.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that the Benny Hill song?
Yeah.
That is the Benny Hill
different.
song. Yeah.
I've almost
So much
acclimated
Benny
to
Hill
being in
song
the
that people
UK.
just call it the Benny Hill theme rather than actually knowing what it is.
It is, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's funny. That is hilarious.
Right. It's the following morning. What are you doing, folks?
Let's have some chow. Skip past that. See
Yep.
what the mood's like in the common room. See if there's new people that's come in through the night, etc. Get some stories whilst we're eating, and then let's just bugger off to Sharanav if there's nothing of interest that's gone on through the night.
All
Very good.
The Sultan there's called Biltek, I believe.
Sultan Biltek.
Yeah, he's the fat-bellied one, I think.
I think he likes
He-
us.
And then and then Araxis. 2 names we know of. Did we have a contact
huh?
here?
What, Sharanav?
Yeah.
I think we did.
We probably have got a contact. I think. I mean, we got a list.
We did.
Yeah,
Can't
we've
remember
got a
sure.
list of-
Sharon, there must be a contact in Sharon.
Yeah, there is a contact from. Actually, shit. Maybe I should have sent Matey a message last night as well, just to make sure that agreements are still in place for us, and making sure that with all the kerfuffle that's in Kujand and Kesar,
Hmm.
whether or not our contacts list will still support if we need them.
Well, I can go and ask when we get to Sharon. I'll head over and find out what's going on in Kujand.
Yeah.
Even if they won't help the rest
Should
of us, they might still help you, go, us being.
Well, exactly. No, it's,
Mugsy's good at disguising himself as other people. He can maybe pull off a dwarf.
Not that good. What if we pick up some camels for this trip? How far are we talking?
Where would you get those?
Okay, so none here in this town. Darn it.
No.
And
the
camels.
problem with this isn't even a town. This is a village. I
Yeah.
mean, and it is
Yeah.
a village. It's like you've got, you know, you've had about 80 people. It's been quite a busy day. You've had about 80 people staying. I mean, you guys have 2 rooms, which you split basically the ladies in one and the gents in the other overnight, right? They're cramped. They're small rooms and they're cramped, and it's not the most comfortable, but it's more comfortable than sleeping under the stars. So that's absolutely fine. And there's a bathhouse and there's outhouses and things like that, so it's not a problem. But this place is rammed, yeah, and it's rammed with people who are part of the you reckon about 70 or 80 traders and guards and so forth. It just happens to be a very busy day, and this has more than quadrupled the number of people in this village. Yeah,
but there might be a
the
caravan.
permanent inhabitants of the village is about 15 people.
Yeah, there might be a
Wow.
caravan leaving that we could travel with.
I can think
The
of
caravans
I can
all
think of,
leave together.
I can think of at
Okay.
least two camels we could come up with.
Yeah.
And I know that camels like us almost as much as Fae. So
Well, a surviving camel.
And I don't want you to fight for me. I just want you to transport me.
Yeah. Sure, for 1 hour. Yeah.
So are we going to walk to Sharanav? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
I
far,
think
is it? It's a couple of days.
Oh,
Basically a day and a half.
Yeah.
oh.
I mean, if they're willing, we caravans.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
You offer to provide, free guarding services for transport. The caravans, one of the caravans is moving a little bit more quick, or 2 of the caravans actually together that are moving together are moving a little bit more quickly. Some of them move basically on foot at foot speed because the guards whatever. But some of them are slightly lighter wagon, the more lightly loaded wagons with items that aren't quite as dense and aren't quite as heavy, and therefore they can move a little bit quicker. They move basically at a jogging pace, effectively. So it takes you a day to get to Sharonab, and they are actually going to Sharonab, so that makes your life easier. It's also handy because it means that you can watch out for things on the road.
Yeah,
and as you're getting towards Sharonab, you're turning on the road. You're just basically sitting on the wagon, and I mean you're all alert. You've been paying attention all day, and Mugsy, you spot in the distance 3 pilgrims walking along the road towards Sharonab.
So Mugsy's perched on top of a wagon because he convinced everyone that it would be a better place for him with his little bow. So he's not walking because that's a bunch of crap.
Basically sat on top of an upright box, so you're about 6 feet off the deck of the wagon, and you're right up on top. And in the distance, because you've just got that little bit of extra distance that you can see 3 quite familiar pilgrims walking along the road.
Oh, is one of them blue-skinned?
3 blue-skinned elves.
Yes.
3 women. Well, actually, they're not all blue-skinned. One of them is blue-skinned, and she has a distinctive braided hairstyle that you recognise.
Interesting. I wonder if they're crazy.
You rattle past
shoot
on the wagon, and as you do so, she looks up to see you perched up there, and you see this look of. You see a sort of almost like an internal sigh be made as you come rattling past, and you just wave to her.
Yeah.
You're about a quarter mile from the city gates.
Update the one note to say
And
alive.
as you rattle towards the city gate, Mugsy, with advantage, can you make an intelligence check for me?
Oh, with advantage. That's a shocking thought. Number 1, control, alt, crap. Why are none of the things giving me what I need for advantage?
Shit.
I am, and it's not changing it. Oh, yeah, and it did. Ooh, there we go. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen.
As you come up towards the gates, you see on the left-hand side, you see a couple of people just stood casually to one side. They're not doing anything in particular. They have a small. Well, actually, it's a carriage, a very big carriage. Probably fit 3 people in at a squeeze. Probably a 2-person carriage, the kind of thing that would be used for transporting wealthier folk around town. And they're both just sat, a man and a woman, they're both just sat casually, both humans, on the driving position on the outside. They're actually kind of a bit of a tight squeeze, they're kind of jammed together. But there's something about their bearing, something about the way in which they appraise each of the people going through the gates and the distance. And then the woman whispers to the bloke, and his eyebrows go up, and he smiles slightly, and he nods, and then he looks into the distance, and he looks to her again, and she smiles and says yes, and the pair of them are looking down the road at the 3 pilgrims. And you look back at the pilgrims, and you look at Zestari, and she's looking at them, and you can see that she's just shaking her head very gently, just the slightest of shakes. Like, no, not at this moment. Don't acknowledge me. Don't acknowledge me. And then the bloke goes, just the briefest of little smiles and little waves, and you can see her kind of go in full view of you. And you rattle through the gate, and into the city.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody that because I do.
Okay. Interesting. So
So
those the two in the thing. I wonder.
so we've got all of Ma's gifts. Why haven't we been attacked yet?
Yeah,
Well, we
wrapped up.
away in our bronze boxes, and we also have. I mean, I don't know how many of these compasses there are, but we've got one. Because everyone, then they don't have it. So that might help.
I guess if we keep moving, we can stay ahead of it.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, obviously, they clocked us when we were in Jaegers, didn't they?
Hmm.
So which I think possibly was based on our descriptions and names. We did get them. We got the boxes in Jaegers. Yeah, you're right. We didn't get the boxes until we were in Jaegers. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, as I say,
For luck. Got it.
I mean, they probably got agents in Sharanav, so there's a good chance they might pick us up here.
Caravan Master, so you arrive and kind of pull off the street. You're in this big open area, not far inside the city gate. And the Caravan Master says, "Well, thank you for being with us and for keeping an eye out for us. The sun is dipping below the horizon now. It's going to start heading into twilight very soon, and then be dark not long after that." So Sharanav.
You're welcome. I would ask, can you recommend a good inn where we can?
You're adventurers. If I were you, I would head down to the main square that's around the palace. There are some excellent places to stay there, and that's probably more your particular interest. There's a lot of adventurers hang around in that square. You'll find somewhere. To be honest, I haven't played any of them myself. I tend to stay here, and he points over to a building just off to the side, and you're like, it looks really grotty. And you think, And there's quite a few unsavoury characters hanging around, some of whom, Mugsy, you can just tell are waiting to, relieve a few people of their purses. And it's the kind of aggro you really don't need. You don't need to be, you don't need to be bumping off a few of the local thieves. Leave them to their own devices.
Mm-hmm.
They'd probably steer clear of you anyway, but even so, you just don't want to.
Garvis, let's not save a little bit of cash here. Let's follow his advice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well, we'll go somewhere that's not got flea-ridden beds and flea-ridden customers.
We say that we don't want flea-ridden beds, but I'm sure those fleas do produce some amount of heat.
Conversation, at least.
Yeah. You'll be up all night, Mama Delira.
Okay, so do we? Let's head into town. Keep your hands close to your purses. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, we've got an amount of money that we're owed from these agents.
That's right.
Yes.
It's a big chunk of cash.
Do we have to tell them where we were going? I remember.
So just so there's one thing, okay, this is important. Your contact here will be Thecred Coppermane, who you understand is a jeweller.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, we got some business at his place anyway, haven't we?
Yeah, we do.
Can you pop that in chat, please?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. Wow. What an awesome cover. I'm sure he's got like stuff just lying around to spare.
Do you know what would be really
You know
handy?
what? You really are the misgendering king tonight. You really are. You know,
I am.
Thecred is a woman, a female dwarf.
And I spelt it wrong.
It says there,
I said them.
dwarf woman who deals in dwarf jewelry.
That
Thecred
grid.
Coppermane.
Well, I will tell you, with dwarves and their beards and all that, sometimes I do get slightly confused.
Do you know what I think we should be on the lookout for? I've seen them in a dream once where I'm sure it was a dream, or I might have read it somewhere on some papyrus of some sort. But it's like a tent and a bag of holding have kind of like bred together, and it's basically a tent that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside,
Ooh.
with many rooms,
Ah.
and you can customize it to whatever you want. And I'm sure if I dreamt it, I'm sure that there was like ropes and stuff going across
Come
different
on, mate,
sections.
lady. What is it called? There's Leomund's tiny hut, isn't there?
Yes,
Well,
it
there's another
is.
one
Yes,
as well.
it is.
Is there? Is there actually a thing in
Isn't it Leomund's
D&D?
tiny hut?
Isn't that
Leomund's
when
tiny hut is
Yep.
basically this little tiny hut that's
Yep.
a model of a hut, and when you put it on the ground, it grows and it becomes a
I thought
thing
that
that
was
you can
a-
stay in.
I thought that was
But
a
there's also
spell.
another one. I'm sure there's another one.
Well,
Yeah.
There's some great spells.
I mean, if
Of
we
course,
could get something like
as-
that, then we don't have to bother about inns and shit. We just rock up at a town,
Yeah, exactly.
put it in the
Which, as a
center of the
DM,
courtyard.
you're like, as a DM, when that spell suddenly becomes available, you're like, huh, that's cool. Because you lose all those cool role playing opportunities in the ends. You lose, in fact, some of them that are like indestructible and you lose all the nighttime attacks and cool things like that. And so I would be perfectly happy to do without it, just to give John the chance to poke us a little bit more. That's for sure.
Don't
But
be a
anyway,
third-
that's just me
third
as
level
a
a whack of, is it gold or something to
No,
cast
No.
it?
no, it doesn't cost anything. A small crystal bead, no cost.
but think about
Which
you
breaks
don't get
after
to
you
talk
first
to people. You don't get to talk to people. You don't get to drink. You don't get to pickpocket. Nothing.
Okay. So let's
Okay.
not get into that for a second. Let's just talk about Sharanav. So
Woo.
you are correct. It is indeed Sultan Biltek who is the ruler of Sharanav. And according to the rumors that you pick up very quickly, she's very busy at the moment with business in the city, and is currently pregnant with her third child.
Oh,
So Sharanav is a port city which is sat at the head of a delta that
Okay.
leads to the ocean a few miles away. Okay, so here's Sharanav, and here's the ocean just over here. It is not just the main part of Sharanav that's inhabited. It's also a number of islands in the delta that are inhabited by locals, and there's quite a lot of passage by boat and people coming in and out of the city all day. The actual ground side of Sharanav, 2/3 of it is protected by a large set of earth ramparts, which have a few small number of gates set into them. On one of those gates you came through. The city itself is mostly fairly flat buildings, 1 and 2 stories. So there's not a lot of height here. There's quite a lot of physical space inside the ramparts. There's quite a lot of ground to cover. The exception to this rule of fairly low buildings is that you've got the palace in the centre, which is stone built, and overall is effectively about 5 stories tall, with a number of stone towers at the corner, and it's a very graceful building, in fact. But you can see it pretty much from anywhere in the city. It's easy to find where things are. You can travel to them and back very easily. I've just clicked a button and I'm not sure what's happened. No? Pete, I have just lost your video. It's gone wonky like Martin's video did earlier.
Yeah, no, everybody's
It's not
Pete's video's gone wonky on my side as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's Pete's video that's gone wonky. That's good then.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay,
So,
everyone's seeing Pete's video as being wonky. That's good.
Yeah, it's not just you, John.
Is it coming back? That's the
No.
question.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
We can't
Shall
hear
I
you. That's a
switch
good thing.
Shall I leave and come back?
Just switch the video off and switch it back on.
That's a good
You
idea.
have to leave.
Okay.
There you go. You can still hear us, presumably.
Yeah,
And you're
There
I've
he is.
just
There
done
he
a
is.
transition to full screen, so we didn't see any misgivings.
Very well handled, Mr. Producer. Well done.
Thank you very much, and we're back in 3, 2. No, we're all sorted.
Everything is awesome. Again.
Yeah. I keep forgetting actually
Right.
to switch between camera mode and full screen mode, and I'm mostly leaving it on just game mode. That's
So
what it's
most of the buildings here are also built out of. They appear to be built out of kind of simple rough bricks, and then covered in adobe, and some of them are just raw in the kind of red mud of the delta, but others are painted in gaudy colours. Some simply painted in whites and blues, and other colours, yellow. You see pink. Whereas others are actually some houses you see or some buildings you see are quite decorated in quite a flamboyant style, and you realise that in most cases the ones that are businesses, and the simple geometric paintings on the outside are indicative of what they sell.
Okay.
Okay. You walk through the city, and as you walk, you notice that the lights are starting to come on. Lamps are coming on, so the whole place is lit in yellow lamplight, and gradually the sky above you darkens. You burst out into a main square, and in the distance you can see the walls of the palace. A couple of doors. And it seems that people are mostly keeping their distance. And surrounding this square on 3 sides are buildings, and one of them appears to have a large bed painted on the side, and you think, well, perhaps we'll try that one first. Very simple geometric shape, but it's obviously a bed.
Yep. Let's give that one a go.
Sounds good.
All right. Yep. It seems like a solid place to stay. It's reasonably good quality. It's simple. It's very reasonably priced, and you realise that in the common room, which is actually off reception to one side, so when you go in, there is a reception area, and you talk to them, and you agree on a price for your rooms. And then you can see through into this room, and there appears to be tables set up. People are eating. And you notice there's quite a lot of other adventurers here. You think this is an adventurous haunt.
Okay, well, let's secure
Nice.
a couple of rooms for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Not a
And then-
problem. You do that.
Have a meal and some ale and some rumours, perhaps.
Well,
That
certainly
sounds great.
see if this Lord, is it Aranax?
Lord Araxes.
Araxes.
Yeah, well,
Araxes is
uh,
around.
Oh, we'll be able to
I
find
could
Lord of
probably find out
Axis.
about him temple tomorrow. They'll know if it's a Temple of Torm would keep track on things like, gold dragons in the local
So
environment.
you strike up a conversation. It's just you strike up a conversation very quickly. You're in the bar. It's actually quite interesting because, Garvis, you are one of only two dwarves in this bar, and the other dwarf is looking really. He's standing in the corner. But he's actually not sat at. He's not sat at the table. He's standing when you come in, and you can see that he's looking really nervous. And then you lot come in, and he actually relaxes a bit. And he's still looking around, and it's pretty much all adventurers in here, and and perhaps a few other travellers and sort of itinerants. But it's people who are probably the most worldly. There's only about 30 people in here in total. So it's busy, but not terribly so. And Garvis, he comes over to you, and he just nods. Everything all right?
Aye.
Hear about the
Yeah.
homeland?
I heard they.
Another attempt on His Majesty's life.
Sorry, what was that? I missed that.
Another attempt on His Majesty's life.
It's a sad situation.
Yeah, it's messing with things, you know.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Clans forced him into it, forcing out all the non-dwarfs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been to a couple of places where I haven't had a good reception. Fortunately, my crew have been backing me up, but it got a bit tense a few days ago to the south of here. So just watch your back, all right? I think so far this place seems all right. If you go in Jaeger's way, be careful.
Yeah, we were there not long ago.
Yeah.
All right, back
How
then,
long?
and that was before a couple of weeks.
For the
Yeah.
expulsion.
It's only got it's only lit up in the last week since everyone was expelled.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting really tough. So just watch your back, all right? Be careful. Don't let them pick you out. If you've got any magic, if you've got a wizard with you who can disguise you, there might be times when you might need that in a hurry. Don't be too proud to hide out the way. You understand what I'm saying? None of us
Right.
wants to be taking on a mob of misguided fools.
Mm.
You know? The edge of my axe was
Warning.
ready, but it's not a good thing to do. It's not a good
No.
reputation to get.
Hmm.
Anyway, brother, stay safe.
Mm.
And he walks
And
off back to a table.
Okay.
And
Wow.
there's a little crew, little coterie sat around the table, and they all sort of welcome him back, and they're all chatting away to him, and they look over at you, and they give you guys a wave.
Cool.
Somebody from across the room walks over, and you realise he's a bard, and then with another one of the adventuring teams. You Mugsy.
That we are.
I knew it. You owe me that gold. Keep
How
doing
can
what
we
you're
help
doing.
you?
You're keeping the heat off us.
Yes.
And he walks back over to his team, and you realise that basically it looks like kind of he's probably the face of this particular group, but the rest of them all look incredibly shady. And they're all winking and nodding in your direction, and they're all like, hey, they raise their
Nice.
drinks.
Very good. Very good. Ah, boy. We're known in all my friends in low places. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Reinhorn, we need libations.
The
We're
server
sitting
comes
here at
over,
the table.
and she says, "So what can I get you, Mugsy's Marauders? I heard."
Whatever Reinhorn says we should have. He's our master
you,
of
right?
drinks.
Elf boy.
That's him.
Nice
I'm
beard.
sorry.
Thank you very much. And I give it a little bit of a tug. I think tonight it calls for Dwarven spirits.
I think it does.
I think it does.
Dwarven spirits, man.
What have you got?
No dwarven spirits.
Oh,
Oh
Waiting
no.
on shipments. Don't think they're going to come. Understand?
no, not
We've heard
really.
rumors.
I got some elven brandy. That's good.
I look at Garvis. Does he nod? Elven brandy. I
If
said
it falls-
elven brandy.
Hey, if it pours, I'll drink it.
It's served in very tiny and very effete cups, and you have to put your finger up when you drink it like that.
Nice.
Oh, no.
It's actually, when you drink it, it has the magical effect of forcing you to put your finger up. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So
Ale
yeah, okay.
around.
Let's get a bottle of elven brandy.
I'll bring you a bottle of elven brandy. I'll bring you some plates, and I'll bring you a jug as well.
Well done.
Excellent.
Then you can decide.
And breads and stuff, and that'll be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, she brings you some plates, and she says she's going to bring you some plates. She brings you some serving plates, and she brings out a big platter, and it's
Yeah.
basically got hot meats on it. It's got vegetables. It's got
Nice.
bread. It's got these little rice balls that are absolutely delicious. They've kind of been deep fried, and they've got cheese in the middle, and they are absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
You can serve these at our inn when we get back.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Take a note, Reinhorn.
I'm taking a note. When she comes back, to deliver another bottle of elven brandy, I ask who the chef is.
Argant, the chef.
What's his name?
Well, it's his team. Argant.
Argant.
Oh, well done. Good thought. I see where you're going here.
We need someone
Okay.
for the inn.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need good.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
need a good chef. I mean, I'm sure
That's
between
absolutely.
the five of us, we can fuck everything up, but we need a good chef.
yeah.
There was me thinking
Absolutely.
Garvis would do the cooking.
No, everything would be burnt
More
and look like
mushrooms.
spiders' legs.
I was going to say,
yeah.
mushroom stew, soup, mushroom stew,
Lovely.
fish and mushroom stew,
I
mushroom
reckon.
bread,
Would I be able to
Yeah.
meet him?
Nice.
mushroom balls.
Mm.
Nice.
I asked the server
mushroom
if I can
balls.
meet Argant.
Ooh.
Wow.
I see what you're,
And
doing
I'll
here.
go into the kitchen. I'll go into the kitchen with her. I don't want him to come out to the table. I want to go and see him. And then basically, I'm just going to strike up a conversation. Hey, those cheesy rice balls. Garvis loves them.
Good, I'm glad you like them.
Garvis
What are
loves
you doing
them.
in my kitchen?
I just wanted to come and say hi. How you doing? And thank you very much for fantastic food. And I'll put my hand
Glad
out.
you like it. Yeah, fuck off, yeah.
Excellent.
Brigade are running here.
Yep. All right then, chef. See you later.
Chef, if he didn't sweary. If he wasn't sweary, correct?
Yeah. Right. But now, at least now that I know him and I've met him, I could send him a message.
Yeah.
True.
Oh.
I come out and I go, hey, Mugsy, you're going to
Over
love
Mugsy.
that chef. You're going to love that chef. He's
Mugsy gets off and pads out of the room.
I need to do the same.
He'll be right back.
Yes.
Should we go for a Diet Coke break then?
It is 9
Through the
o'clock.
door that's marked restroom.
Yeah.
Yes, if other people would like a short break, we'll have
Yeah,
a,
I wanted
we'll
to
have a
hit
break
the
for a couple of
scotch. So yeah. Okay, in that case,
minutes. Hit the scotch, drink it, man.
well, it's on the other side, and yeah. So, right,
Okay,
I'll just put
we'll
this
take
on.
a couple of minutes break and we'll see you on the other side.
Indeed.
See you at 9 o'clock.
Be right back. And we're back. So, thank you very much for your patience. Everybody else is back as well. So let's get you back onto the game. I'll tell you something that we haven't mentioned tonight. Well, I mentioned it earlier, but we haven't mentioned it as a group. Is where we get the fantastic maps from.
We
For our
should talk about
adventures.
that.
Yeah, I forgot. We should have raised the glass or something. But yeah, Gozzies.com. Don't forget to go there.
Gozzies.com is the place to go for generating your maps. That's for sure.
Anthony, have you ever thought about doing voiceover work?
Absolutely. Good stuff.
You can do an American accent really, really well.
I've been
You
working
can.
on it. You said halflings in the game have to have an American accent, so I've been
Yep.
been trying to almost live it. So very fair.
You notice they all do in the D&D movie as well. So
Hey, there you go.
Good trick. Yeah.
as do all the bards.
Which is unusual for fantasy films, because fantasy films usually try and make everyone to be either English or Scottish.
Which
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
We played
was
this
Scottish.
star, and they were terrible. They were terrible at doing an English accent, so we made them do a Scottish one. So they're equally as terrible at that, but we're not as good at being able to tell it's terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well done.
Or
Look
although,
at me, I'm so Scottish. Sounds so high class.
yeah, or Star Wars, where all the villains have English accents and
Yeah, well, of course, that was the tradition in Hollywood for many years. Is that
yeah.
all of them? I remember John Lithgow in what's it called, the climbing movie that Stallone did.
Oh yes,
Yeah, that movie. That John Lithgow suddenly inexplicably has an English accent. I'm like, it's John Lithgow, right? What's going on?
yeah.
That's funny.
It's Dick from Third Rock. What's happening? Yeah.
That's funny. It's all right. German accents universally give us a certain special thing, and
Yes, yes.
Movie.
About German accents that you find so difficult to deal with. I do not understand.
Of course,
They're
that
trying
was
to say something about us. Yeah.
the
There's
first
that as well.
Die Hard. They were German, weren't they? In that?
of course,
They got an Englishman to play a German, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, had a vaguely German accent.
Yeah.
And the third one.
And the third one, they also got another Englishman to play a German. Yes.
Well, that's
Well,
'cause
the third one was Jeremy
supposed to
Irons,
be-
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was linked to the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking the revenge for my brother. Mate, you're English. Shut up. It's weird.
it's wonderful.
Anyway, right. Sorry, getting off that topic. Okay, so
take 'em on.
at one point, one of the people on the table, you're talking throughout the evening, and one of the people on the table behind you leans over and goes, I heard you say something about Lord Araxes. Is that right? She's this sea elf.
Yeah.
Ah,
You know him.
I didn't say anything.
Him.
I didn't say anything.
Lord. Sorry. Drink. Thank you.
I look around the table, John. Honestly, did any of us actually say anything about Lord
Yes,
Araxes?
you'd been talking earlier about Lord Araxes.
Yes, we had.
Okay. Dang it.
So yeah, we did. Do you know him?
Yeah, we had to do a delivery for him. He lives in Upshar.
Upshar.
Yeah. If you just ask people around, if you ask for directions to Upshar, it's to the west.
To the west.
Oh, outside the city.
No, in the city. It's an area. The Upshar district. It's just to the west of the palace here. If you ask for directions to Upshar, and then when you get there, if you ask around, there's plenty of people who know where he lives. He's
Okay.
fairly well known.
Oh, thanks for the.
He's the elf, right?
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Shit, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't get many of those high elves around, do you? Pretty
No.
rare.
Not too many.
No.
No. 2 to a penny.
Hmm.
Is that actually the right saying? I can't remember. I poured
I've
myself
got
another
something that
drink.
I've got something that might interest you folks.
Mm.
And I pull this out and I put
Put
this
it.
on the
Oh,
table.
okay. Phew.
And let me see if it actually shows up. Yep, here we go. I've got a very interesting key I found underwater.
What is it? So
Yeah, I
I'm-
can't spell the
So I'm just going to.
So again.
Yes.
So I'm just going to explain to because the stream can't actually see the text. Okay, so give me 2 seconds.
Oh look, says the elf. She looks at it. She says, "A very tiny key."
Found. Can
Why
you guess
would
where?
I care about a very tiny key? Unless I knew which lock it unlocked. Which lock does it unlock? Something worth?
I don't know. However, it was taken from the belt of a Seguin baron.
Sahuagin.
Saguahin baron.
Sahuagin.
Sahuagin baron. I correct myself when she corrects me.
All right. And where'd you find the Sahuagin Baron?
I look at the rest of the team. Hopefully, they'll throw out a name before we were or somewhere close.
In the water?
Not around here, then.
The depths
Nah.
of the sea.
In the depths of the sea, you found a Sahuagin Baron who'd got a key.
Yeah.
And rather than finding the lock the key belonged to, you thought you'd take it and offer it to me for what?
A drink?
Am I supposed to take this as some kind of, it's some sort of...
This is an absolute insult because you're an undersea creature and I said another undersea creature and now I'm in trouble. Dang it all.
Under the sea? I
To
live on
be
the sea, sometimes.
to be fair, it was either that or he was going to get his hand meat
Most
out.
of the time I live like this, like you do. Like him.
Very, very good. If you're not interested, and
What are you putting in me for?
I say, well, if you're not
a sea elf, or half sea elf anyway.
Yeah, I say if you're not
That's what she's
interested,
pointing
fine.
at.
And I do a little sleight of hand and tuck it away.
There's
So,
a
I'll sell it
blonde
yet.
human behind her, quite a cute. She's quite slender and small, and you can't really tell. She's obviously got some sort of magical. She's obviously some kind of magical discipline. You're not quite sure, and she's got her hand clamped over her mouth, and is every mention of the tiny key, pissing herself laughing. The rest of them are sort of holding themselves in, but she is like.
Well, it's like, when you put a belt key, I think, well, what kind of belt needs a key? There's only one kind of belt I can think of that needs a tiny little key.
So, are you interested? I mean, discount rate.
I'm not going to touch that with a barge pole.
I'd rather not touch your tiny key. Perhaps it might taste of the sea. Yeah?
Mugsy shakes his head, pockets the silly key. Fine. I will sell that damn thing yet. I've been carrying it forever.
Like maybe somebody might want it for decoration, but we buy keys because they open doors, right? That's the only
Or other
reason.
things.
Or we have somebody and she just sort of, kind of points her thumb at this very nondescript, very nondescript looking human who's just sort of sat casually to one side on their table. Or we have people who are experts in opening locks. Then we don't need keys, right?
Then we don't. I give him a little bow, half head bow.
He just winks.
Mm. So as everybody else does whatever they do, nope. Good. I'm not gonna do anything
Okay.
else. I've
So-
had my fun.
Night passes without incident. You all get a comfortable night's sleep. And when the session is over, you can all raise yourselves to level 11 as well.
Yay! Score.
It's the most exciting thing that's happened to Rob in weeks.
8 friggin' months. 8. Okay,
Yes.
that's
Sorry, dude.
yay.
If we'd done more stuff, we can't.
Well, that is true, but you should think, right, that small key in that very large pouch of yours tipped us over the edge.
It may have. I
So-
do hang on to some things. Probably I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling I'm going to be able to sell that for something at some point. Someone's going to get excited. It's a I can't ever say that stupid word. And it'll make us, even if it makes us just a couple of gold, I'll be happy.
I've
It hasn't taken up that much space.
I've come up with a new drinking game. We all have to take a drink until Anthony can say Shahuagin.
Sahuagin.
Oh, that's no fun. We don't get to drink.
I
That's
just
good,
spelled
John.
out phonetically for you. I don't know if you've read that. Yeah.
Could have at least
Yeah,
pretended.
yeah. That's because John just wrote it out. But that's okay. Okay. Are we seeking out this lord?
Yeah, in the morning.
Good morning.
I don't think we'll do it
Fine,
tonight
we'll-
after we've just had a load of elf brandy.
Yeah.
You're all
I
fine.
I do join you in the brandy.
Done eventfully. It's morning.
Yay! Are we level 11 now?
No.
Technically, yes, but at the end of the session, you'll raise yourself to level 11 because you don't need to be starting to look at rules during
Right
the
now.
session.
Right
If
now.
you're very
Yes.
long, then you can raise yourselves to level 11. All right.
We look at rules? Since when did we do that?
Get your raise when you finish
After.
the session.
Okay.
I think we should let Illyra start leading something on the next little piece. I haven't heard your voice until just then tonight. I feel like I've been stealing
Did you hear
limelight.
me about the beautiful night stars? The shooting
I'm
stars.
going to say,
Ah,
suggest
yeah, I
that-
do remember that. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
To be fair, what
You had
Mugsy
you
doesn't
had the shooting
realise.
star problems.
To be fair, what Mugsy doesn't realise is I modified his memory. He can't remember the shooting stars at all.
That's all that elven brandy. That's the problem. He just can't
There we go.
handle brandy.
Never. Okay, very good. Morning.
Yes, we're
Morning.
up.
Yes.
Now,
All right.
I'm just wondering why she told us that free bit of information. Does somebody want to check out the compass to see whether it goes west or not? Because it works on people as well. I know. Who does not trust the GM, huh?
right.
Who does not trust the GM?
I know, we need to find out some information. Let's talk to some people about the information. Can we trust them? They seem to have given the information for free. What? Really?
Yes. Let's use the magic device to see if it points in the right direction. I mean, he could be shopping. He could be in Aldi for all we
Just kind
know.
of get there and then, yeah, okay. All right. Well, yeah, you try the thing and it's fine, and you go in that direction. And everything's good.
Excellent.
So you find the Upshot district, which is an
3 coughs away. Yeah.
area not far from the palace that's got a series of just large houses set amongst beautifully manicured lawns and shrubberies and so forth. This place doesn't seem to suffer from the lack of water that other places do, but that would probably suggest that it's happening because it's right on the edge of a river delta. So there's plenty of water to irrigate things.
Mhm.
And you ask around, and you are indeed pointed towards this house, this large and rather elegant, almost elven-looking house. That is, you think, single story, but it's not like the others. It doesn't. It has sort of this vaulted roof, and it's not like most of the other buildings in this city. In fact, most of the buildings around here are not like any of the other buildings elsewhere in the city. What are you going to do? Just walk up and knock on the door?
Yeah. We got a letter, didn't we?
We did take a letter, yes. We asked for an introduction from.
Oh yes, we did, didn't we? And she gave us the letter of introduction.
Yeah. So, you walk up and you knock on the door.
Yes.
And after a few moments, the door opens, and a rather elegantly dressed human stands before you, and he looks you up and down, and you can see that he is quizzical.
We
Yes.
have a letter for Lord Araxus.
And you brought it here because?
This is where he lives, is it not?
Why would you not deliver it to the bag? That is the tradespeople's entrance.
Because we are not tradespeople. This is a letter of introduction.
Well said. Well said.
Simply puts out his hand, and he looks down at you, particularly Garvus. Are you going to hand him the letter?
No, can I punch him in the face instead?
Letter.
It's a letter.
No, because that doesn't get you introduced to people.
No, but
You'll
it'll
make him a
get...
crow in a minute. Come on, it's fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'll put the letter in his hand, but I won't let go of it. So when he tugs on it, and say,
Why do you hold on to this thing?
because it is of vital importance that it is delivered immediately. You will understand.
Is it
Araxus-
vitally important? And then he
Yes.
looks down at Mugsy, who stood kind of quite close to him. Well, hand it over.
Man.
The door clunks closed. He doesn't slam it. And you hear him tap, tap, off into the distance.
I nearly stabbed him.
I know it's impolite.
You count to 97 and the door swings open, and he's got this very, very like poker look on his face. Lord Araxus will see you now.
No shit, Sherlock.
And you see that the colour of him is like
Garvus just
he
walks
holds
past.
himself because he
Yeah.
realises what an absolute twat he's been.
Yeah.
And how
In
much he's
layer of
fucked up.
sweat. forming on
Garvus
the
walks
brow.
past him without looking at him.
Perfect. He just stands to one side and he literally points his arm down this corridor. You walk down this fairly short corridor through a set of double doors that are standing open. And you walk into this large central room, which actually takes up most of the central portion of the house. You realise that there are satellite rooms off this, but the core of this house is one just large room. And it is beautiful, actually. It's beautifully decorated. It has these high vaulted ceilings that come up to the roof. And it's a sumptuously laid out living room.
I put
There
my
are
hand...
plants everywhere.
Sorry, I put my hand on Mugsy's shoulder as we were walking through and we take in this incredible scene before you get into too much detail. And I bend down and I say to him, "You touch anything and I'll kill you myself." Got it?
It's that type of support.
This is not the time for our tomfoolery. Trust me, Mugsy.
So, standing in the centre of the room as you walk in and waving welcome is a tall elf of early middle age. He's got long golden hair tied in braids, and his eyes are looking at you. They're quite piercing. He's wearing a long robe, and it's sort of lower down from the chest down. It has an abstract pattern embroidered on it, and that puts you in mind of the scales of a fish. In fact, even though it's quite abstract. And all around you on the walls are these large hangings, big tapestries. And one in particular catches your eye because there's beautifully embroidered on this thing, are two dragons, one black, one silver. And they're flying, and they're coiled together.
Ooh.
As they fly around one another.
Does that remind me of the...
Welcome, and do come in, please. Sit.
I kind of keep staring at the tapestry. It kind of reminds me of the underground chamber with the two dragons.
Yes.
That were floating around, and I, for some unknown reason, I can't kind of like take my eyes off of it for a long time.
You admire the hanging of Morthrax and Parlona?
Excuse me. Who?
Okay, I rack my brains. Okay, so we're gonna have to have a rewind. Did somebody not converse with one of the dragons in that thing? No. Right. Okay.
No, I dreamed that the two dragons thanked us.
Yeah, but we didn't get a name, did we?
This was
you dreamed that the two dragons thanked you.
Yeah.
I think it might be confusing things.
Yeah.
Was it one dragon?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So I turn around and I go, sorry, Lord. It's just that it reminds me of an underground place that we were in, and the two dragons were circling around this
looks
area.
Genuinely shocked at what you say. He genuinely he stops and he looks shocked. I'm sorry. You were in an underground place, and this reminds you of a carving. Yes?
No, real dragons. We had to pass a test. We passed it. I think most of us passed it.
There were
dragons. Two dragons. One black, one silver.
These dragons?
About that
How
old?
big were they?
About that old, that big?
So you know, right? You've seen an ancient white worm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty chunky thing, right?
Yeah.
These dragons were much bigger than that.
Yeah, so I tell him that they're bigger than an ancient. It looks like they've eaten 5 ancients.
Truly, like astonishingly ancient.
Yes.
Because dragons keep growing throughout their lives, right? And so an ancient is ancient, and these things must be astonishingly old.
Yes. This was in
you see him put his hand on his chest, and he genuinely, and he sits down with you because basically you're surrounded by these beautiful cushions, and you just sort of sit and you sink into them. And he sits down, and you can see this look of utter confusion on his face. And he's, "You were in a chamber. You were in a no. Please tell me. I believe you are telling me the truth, but please tell me you saw Morthrax and Parlona. They were in a chamber. They were somewhere.
I don't know.
You saw them.
It reminds me of them, and I kind of, to the best of my ability, tell him of how we found them and what happened, and
This was so So what are you telling me? Tell him. Just give me a thumbnail of exactly what you're going to tell him.
So I tell him that I believe we all had to pass a test. My particular test was to, if I've got this right, I had to do a trade contract against someone, but that's not my forte because somebody royally screwed up, and I put myself in the cells and blah 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 blah. But we all had
Your
to pass
story
a
is getting really
test,
shitty.
and I passed the test because by proxy, and then we saved. It was in the guinea pig place, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was
We should really-
Doldoram.
So just on
That's it.
Doldoram.
Yeah, that was it. Garvis, that was it. Well remembered. Sorry, too much drink between then and now.
Past the mountains of ice in Doldoram.
There it is.
Delved into the depths.
Doldoram. Their university.
Yes, below the university.
A magical university. The place we could never understand. How they grew their power. We never understood where it came from.
The mines beneath. They found in the mines beneath the university crystals which they could use to extract power.
Pure magic. Concentrated by Morthrax and Parlona. Let me tell you of the ancestor dragons.
I sit in rapture. I listen.
And take notes.
Yes, I'm scribbling. For the first time, you've actually seen Rhinorn can write. Kinda. It's like words and doodles.
So either John's pulling something up, or he's put
John's like, fuck Rob.
No.
I tell you, every time he fucking goes off on a tangent, and Jesus.
So,
my own fault. So good.
10,000 years. You of the low races, your lives pass so quickly.
What?
But 10,000 years ago, we dragons ruled the overland. When war broke out over territory or resources, the metallics fought the chromatics. Neither side ever gaining the upper hand. The chromatics bred more rapidly, but we metallics were more powerful. After a few thousand years, we were suddenly terrified by a new weapon that the chromatics discovered. You, each of you, your ancestors were taken by the chromatics and were warped, taught the art of war, the art of violence and hatred. And they used you, your fast breeding, your many thousands per generation, and they used them against us. And at first we were knocked back. And we didn't know what to do. And then we realized Parlona showed us the way. What Morthrax had corrupted Parlona. He found the way fixing. What we would do is we would teach you. You low races, you tiny lives. We would teach you all that was good. We would teach you art. We would teach you literature. We would teach you the meaning of the beautiful things and places of the world. Even you. Woods lady. Your kind. Were taught the beauty of the natural world. Everything. You were taught. And this broke the back of the chromatic's hold on you. But then you discovered magical power for yourselves, and you started to exploit it. And fear. Dragons, we felt fear for the first time, not of each other, but of something else, something other. What could we do? We had to join together to settle things. And so the two greatest dragons, the great old ones, Morthrax and Parlona, they joined together in a great ritual. For a year and a day, they danced together in the sky. This that you see commemorates that moment. And then, after they had danced together, the war between us was over. Once again, we were bound together in a common purpose, to drive things forward. We would guide you, we would help you, together as one dragon kind. Not altogether good, not altogether evil. We would each have our own natures, and some would stay beyond the firelight. But most of us would grasp this opportunity. And so, exhausted from their dance, they coiled together in the earth. But we could still hear their voices. They guided us and they helped us, even as you, the low races, people grew and multiplied across the earth. Your magical power grew and you forgot us. You forgot we were here. You sidelined us. We were no longer important, so we withdrew some of the more wild places of the world. We waited our time. And then you built the machinery of destruction. And 1,000 years ago, Morthrax and Parlona fell silent. We believed that your sundering, your great breaking of the world, had killed them. But now you tell me they are bound, sleeping a deep magical sleep under the earth. There is hope. There is hope that they may be freed again. I thought you brought me news to the Institute, and that was wonderful indeed. Although I was saddened to learn of how you pushed the whites away. That meant that my lair and that of my slain brother could not be recovered, will not be recovered. But that the Institute survived was great news. But it is as nothing against this. You bring me the most wondrous news possible. Thank you, my friends. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Wow, thank you is awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Huh.
We are pleased that we could bring hope to you and your kind.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be worth something.
I must ask something of you. All of you. This is important to me, and I hope that, knowing what I have achieved with the Institute, you will grant my wish. I am at your mercy. But few in this city know of my true nature. They see me simply as Lord Araxis, the elf. Please, I would ask that you keep that, my true nature, to yourselves.
We understand.
Uh-huh.
I do not wish to speak for my compatriots, but I will. We, as adventurers, have not adventured in a normal way. We have sought out pieces of things that are horrific. We have put down demons. We have dealt with problems in my own kindred. We have done many things, and yet our recompense has been little. My only thought is if you are what you say you are, which I believe you are, that you might have the type of thing that would help us at least retire in the end of our short little lives.
I know the satisfaction you must derive from the great works you have done.
Yes.
I thank you, Mugsy. I will pray for you. When your life is over, your short life is over.
They will build a tapestry of you.
I pray I shall still walk the earth, and I will remind those who come after of the great deeds that you have done, of the work and the effort that you have put in. Don't worry, Mugsy. You will not fall from the minds of men.
Your
And those who
kindness
come.
is so
You
great.
will be remembered for as long as I draw breath.
Your kindness rocks me on my heels.
Yes, beaks.
Wow.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for bringing meaning to our paltry lives.
Yep.
Yay!
By the way,
You're welcome.
not forget that we did loot the institute of everything that's the value.
What?
I'm not saying that in character.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned. I mentioned on the a little flashback. I mentioned on the,
Ancient May.
yeah, we did.
Things not to say in front of a dragon.
But yeah, I did wonder what Yota would think when she got to the strong room.
Well, you know.
Remember, she didn't get time.
No. Well, obviously after we left. Oh, well, that's true because it all melted down, didn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
She doesn't know.
That basically had molten rock flowing through it for quite some time.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
No, not huge quantities, but over time, it's like turning on a tap and letting the bath fill up.
Mm.
Yeah. Over time, there's going to be a lot of water in your house.
Yep. Very amazing. And I'm going to have a serious
I'm a
talk with
friend.
my freaking team about leveraging the things that we've got in front of us. Unbelievable.
I owe you so much. Will you be staying here in Sharanav for a few days?
Yes, for a few days probably
Maybe.
before we move on.
I will organise some lodgings here. Tell me, what plans do you have?
Uh-oh.
Will you move on with your adventuring from here? I think it's worth pointing out at this point that you haven't actually said anything to him about. You've mentioned going to Doldoran, but you haven't really kind of given him a full lowdown on what you've been doing. The whole point was to come and talk to him about.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yes, to
axioms.
find out more info about the
So-
axioms. That was right. Yeah.
Yeah. So with your, to be honest, we are in need of your great wisdom.
For a small fee.
So, yeah, I'll explain how we got
You don't need
started.
to pay me for my wisdom, Mugsy. I will dispense it freely, especially to someone, to people such as yourselves.
Thank
So,
you.
and, yes,
Done
So-
so much for me.
Garvis will explain our story. We start how we encountered the first of the axioms, We've
Wow.
uncovered the incursions of the demons in
We would've-
in Togul, in Sultanabad.
And we would, of course, not have these silly axiom things with us here. No, we would have set them somewhere else safe
No,
in case something
we're
happened.
always with us.
Oh,
He's
mm.
Garvus believes that Lord Araxis is the personification of good. He aligns
Oh.
with everything that Garvus believes in.
Absolutely. So,
Yes,
so what's
yes.
interesting is when you start talking about finding the first axiom, you see him thinking about it, what that means, and then as you start talking, at one point he stops you, Garvis. He says, "These are the axioms that were used for the ritual of sundering. They were used in the Great Machine,
That is
I
correct.
nod.
Yes.
and you have recovered all 5 of them."
I nod.
Yes.
Do go on. Do go on.
Oh, my word. And for a small fee. Oh, my word. Whew.
At one point, he says, "Garvis, dude, just have a drink for a moment, sir. I really do need to speak to Mugsy."
Uh-oh.
Fine.
And he beckons you over, Mugsy. He stands up and he beckons you over.
Go on, Mugsy, you can take him.
So
Bear in mind that this is a gold dragon's lair, right?
I know. I'm big joke.
And as a lair action,
So I
it's all right. He
follow
only
this.
gets 6 legendary actions around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
that's all right.
follow this
Everybody get-
creature over with. I follow
Once
this
he gets-
creature over with a full understanding of the import of this actual creature. It's unbelievable. And but
Yeah,
with
because that's the thing. When you're talking to him, you just lose yourself in the fact that he's an elf, and then you have to keep reminding yourself of actually what he is.
whoa,
And
yeah,
this is difficult. It's like it's really tough because there's little mannerisms he exhibits which are not elf-like. At one point, for example, he puts his hands out. There's like a little side table, and there's you've been brought drinks, and there's little side tables, and he puts his hand out to the side table, and he just scratches his nails up and down the side table. And then at one point, he sort of puts his hand behind, almost like he's expecting there to be an ear there. And then he kind of looks, and then because his ear's here, obviously, and then
yeah.
And there's
And
little mannerisms like that, and they're almost throwaway. They're almost you don't notice them, but they're there, and they just make him this. They just make him feel otherworldly when he's like it. It's very strange. Mugsy, I
Yes, sir.
understand that your profession has led you to be an expert at acquiring things.
Squirt.
Definitely a squirt.
I'm sorry.
He's definitely a squirt.
Everybody keeps talking.
Expert at acquiring things,
Yes, sir.
even things that are locked away.
Yes, sir.
Even the smallest amongst us has a role to play in securing the future of the world. And the good fortune has fallen to you to be one of those. But I must caution you. Although I seem the way that I am still acutely aware of every piece of treasure that sits within this space.
Me too. Me too.
Good. Not only am I acutely aware of it, were it to move, I would know where it went. I would be connected to it in a way that you could only hope.
And why are you telling me this? I completely understand.
Because I thought it might be useful information for you to have.
Very, very.
Now, of course,
good.
were I to give you a gift of a piece of that treasure,
Uh,
willingly,
for like
that would be
maybe
different.
putting together the axioms or putting down the demons, or like I understand
Were I to give
completely.
you a gift, that would be different. Were I to
Gotcha.
trade things with you, that would be different. But
Wonderful.
as it stands, I just wanted you to know that I was very much in touch with the space that I now inhabit.
I completely understand and take it to my heart. And he bows, and Mugsy bows deeply to this creature that is so vast and powerful, it stuns the imagination.
Hang
Put
on.
it this
Are
way:
you
if
body
that
shaming
thing
here
was in
again?
was in its full dragon form, it would pretty much take up this entire space, and the rest of you would get squished against.
Yeah. And no,
Should be
and
back
this
on
is the
course.
this is the most this is the most elaborate bow
Now
that you
put the
could
cutlery back down, Mugsy.
possibly do. Yes.
Right.
Ah,
You can see how
He-
much you're itching, but he's not going to have it.
no,
Yeah.
and dragons do not give up from their horde. Does not matter the color. So we're not going to get a freaking reward,
Nope.
and that comes to his head
No, that's not what
at
he
this
said.
point. Oh, okay.
You might. Yeah.
Well, knowledge is power, so we can always go for power over
By the way, I
wealth.
do like the description of gold dragons in the monster main. It says something like, our personification of all that's good, blah 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 blah. And it's got the whole thing about all their lairs, and around their lairs you get all this, amazing greenery and all these beautiful things and blah 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 blah, and birds tweeting and everything's wonderful and blah 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 blah. And then at the end it says, but don't nick their treasure, otherwise they'll kill you.
yeah.
You can quite put it like that, but that's pretty much what it says. But
Fair
I still
enough.
like their treasure. You ain't touching it.
Yeah.
They're still dragons.
Dragons.
Yep.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
Like, oh, they're so wonderful, and no,
Yeah.
and they've still got big murdery teeth. So yeah,
Yes. Very good.
So after
So I come back over chased.
so Garvis, you take him through, and with other people chipping in as you need to, you take him through the entire story of how you recovered all of the axioms and all the rest of it. And in the end,
I
he says-
mentioned. Sorry, I dropped Shantier's name a good 20 million times. See if he recognizes it.
He doesn't. He doesn't seem to, from what you can tell.
Okay. I look at Delilah.
But then he is 2,500 years old, so maybe,
He might have dementia. Is that what you're saying?
That's what he's saying.
After 2,500 years, he's finally succumbed to old person's disease.
so when it comes to describing the demon incursion in Tugul and Sultanabad, I'll drop the name of Anheren Kazemi.
Mm-hmm.
And mentioned, do you know her?
I do.
Hmm.
You've met her then?
We did. She's,
You know that she's here in town?
oh, is she? Oh, well,
Yes.
her niece will be very keen to see her, I'm sure.
Elira, you are her niece?
I am.
By the way, you realise he's never introduced himself, and you've never introduced yourselves, but he knows all of your names, and he seems to know stuff about you. Now, your names are written at the bottom of the paper on the letter. She mentions your names, but she doesn't describe you.
I was just thinking that's a dragon thing,
Not a dragon thing.
Oh, so he's actually a pervert then. He's stalking us. That's actually slightly worse, I think,
Oh,
than finding out that it's not a dragon thing.
let me give you a note. So what do you plan to do then? What do you think you should do?
Well, this is
What are your concerns?
this is the question. So
It is.
our concerns are obviously the demoning. Well, we have two concerns, two major concerns. One is the demon incursions, the thinning of the walls between our realm and the demon realm, which is
This is a
obviously
concern.
we have seen from the observatory in the mountains, the planar observatory, the way the planes are aligning, which is of course what led to the sundering in the first place. So the question is how can we prevent this this conjunction, or stop the demons invading this world and ruining it, all of it.
Yeah.
And then our second concern is this cult that is determined to reunite the shards in order to resurrect their god. So now that
primordial, not a god.
Well, yes. But so now that we've acquired the shards, the question is, what do we do? We have a clue to the location of the great machine. We think we know roughly where it is. But what could we do with it? Do we, I mean, we don't want to recreate the sundering and, destroy the world.
Yeah. No, we don't need. Nope. Don't do that.
Learn
Is it
from past
possible?
mistakes.
Well enough that would be bad.
Yes. Is it possible to, in some fashion, repair the damage done by the sundering, or
I have to admit, this is not my area of expertise. You need someone who is an expert on the movement of the planes and who studies this in depth. There is a man here, the Court Magister.
Magister.
the Court Magister?
Bauman. Speak to him. You, give me a moment. I will write you a letter of introduction for him, as Yota wrote a letter of introduction for me.
That would be very helpful, thank you.
One moment. And he walks across the other side of the room, and there's a small, it's a table, a standing table. And he opens a little drawer at the bottom, and he pulls out the implements for writing. And then he writes a letter. And then he wafts it slightly so it dries, rolls it up, sticks the thing around it, seals it, and drops some sealing wax on and puts his seal on the outside. And then he puts a small note. It just says Bauman, kind of next to the seal.
Bauman.
Take this to the palace. Find Bauman. Ask him his advice.
What, tell him
When
about
he has shared the benefit of his wisdom with you, return here. This will give me some time first to dispatch some of my assistants to the Institute. And then it will give me some time to consider what we might do next.
Very cool.
And with that, he motions you to leave. If you've got any questions beforehand, you can ask him before he turns you out the door.
I'm smart enough not to, but someone else may.
There might be some like, legitimate questions, but you probably don't have much to ask at this point. So.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll try and be quick because we don't know if the cult of the black have spotted our movements. They last time we went to a civilized location, they had spies lying in wait for us. And,
That is true.
Hopefully, we won't be attacked. Especially now we have all 5. The danger is quite high.
Delira, you have made yourselves all a target. I am sure there are many people who are whispering about your mission, who are aware of what you have done. Some of them will be looking upon the objects that you carry with avarice and seeking ways in which they might relieve you of them. Others may be watching to make sure that the items are not seized from you. And the whole thing generates a heady brew.
Yes.
You need to be cautious. Guard yourselves at every turn.
Mhm.
I have a property just across the way here where my retinue stay. I would suggest you use it. It is guarded by my magic, making it difficult for infiltrators. Not completely impossible.
Okay.
But very difficult for infiltrators to access.
Very kind of you. Thank you very much.
My staff will show you. Return later. You'll be well looked after. Fed and watered. The accommodation will be more comfortable for people such as you.
That's
This
a pretty good
house is
offer.
not set up for visitors.
It was a very deep bow.
But be
Thank you very
careful.
much.
You've walked into a snake pit. This
Sounds like
city has more under the skin than you may realise. But then I think you already knew that. You've seen that in Yegas. You've seen it in Sultanabad. These places are complex. So take care.
So what I'm hearing is don't like morph yourself into the shape of one of the chief guards and wander off and get drunk.
Yeah.
I don't say that to anybody else, John.
Yeah.
That's in his own little head.
Yeah. A lesson learned.
Nice.
Probably a
Nice.
good lesson to learn as well, yeah.
Oh yes. Very, very good.
Okay then. So
Wow.
shall we go to the court?
So that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. You can decide on your next steps next week.
Good point.
Brilliant.
Level up as well.
Get level up.
Level up for next week.
Brilliant.
And then we'll go from
So
there.
exciting. Exciting. Thanks, John. I enjoyed that session. That was really cool.
Yes, thank you very much.
Went from the mountains across the forest to the town and
Saw
met a
portrait.
dragon. Holy moly.
I know. I bet not many people can say that
some
they've
other
met a
things
dragon.
happened as well.
Oh, yeah. Very, very cool. And we learned some things.
Those other things.
Mm-hmm. Keep it going, John. What?
As to the relevance of those other things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of very interesting perturbations in our story as we start going forward. and we may finally know what to do with these. Well, we at least have a clue to where to go to figure out what to do with these stupid things that we've got. And my concern, and tell me, I mean, this is personification of good and all that, but you know that we as a group have the stuff to do it and the understanding of roughly where to go to cause another sundering, and you let us walk out of the room. That's a little, I mean, sorry, for Mugsy, I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm sure Garvis is just like, yep, woohoo.
So there's still more information to come. This is not the end of the
Yeah,
information.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I was like,
that's the key. Putting aside anything else that might happen, we're not at the end of the information well yet. We've not exhausted the information. So there's more information to come, which you can then sort together, and then you can decide what you're going to do. So
good stuff.
But yeah,
and definitely the hair standing up on Mugsy's neck as we leave. Going, oh wow, that was scary.
He stuffs his hands in his pockets and shuffles out.
Absolutely.
What does he got his arms like that? So he's got his hands on display.
It's like no, not touching anything. Brilliant. Thanks, John. That was a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
And online
every
Tuesday night.
We're approaching the end game here anyway. So, but
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Yeah, every Tuesday night, right? Right, yeah. Rob? You can tell all your folks online.
Every Tuesday night.
Good stuff.
Definitely.
All right.
So,
bye, Martin.
See you guys all Tuesday next week for D&D, and see you all tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh yes. For the stream, I'll just do this off Discord. So for the stream, for those that are watching either on Kick or Twitch, still saying goodbye. So basically, on a Wednesday night, we play Blades in the Dark with GM of Wonders. It's basically the same crew, just different game format. So GM of Wonders you can find on Twitch. He's not on Kick, and I need to get him on Kick. But yeah, GM of Wonders, you can find him on YouTube as well. You can watch live on Twitch only at this moment in time. But if you want a thing with Blades in the Dark, actually it's not Blades in the Dark. We've just done session 0 for Court of Blades, and so tomorrow night we will be live session 1 or episode 1 for Court of Blades. So I hope you can join us. There are some shout outs for the end stream that I wanted to do. Secondly, gozzies.com, the maps for the game that we play on a Tuesday night. And also GM of Wonders that you'll want to head over to, especially for Wednesday night. Hey, I mean, if nothing else, grab a beer, come and see us. Type insults or whatever. Well, maybe not insults, but type something. And like last week, we had an interactive person, and they were asking questions or giving us, trying to give us answers for the puzzles that we were going through. And yeah, so we can always work with that. So just type on the keyboard, and yeah, it'll pop up, and I'll stop everybody and say, and we'll answer questions or or include you somehow. My next stream is going to be it's not going to be until next Tuesday, because Friday I'm normally on Star Citizen. Sunday I'm definitely on Star Citizen when the servers permit. But this weekend I am in Holland. So after Wednesday, there is going to be no stream. I'm going to see if I can set up something that I can do for YouTube for the barbecues and the visitations around Holland that I'm going to. Whether or not I can actually remember to do that, and or more importantly, whether I can actually do a live stream whilst I'm drunk, is going to be a different matter. So, so it will be safe to say, till next Tuesday. Take care. We love you.